It's time for Brewster Whitecaps baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Well, after their most thrilling victory of the season last night in YD, the Brewster Whitecaps are back in action, and this time, Eastern Division supremacy is on the line. We welcome you to Eldridge Park, where the sun is setting just beyond the right field foul pole, as it always does here at the home of the Orleans Firebirds, for the site of this Game 1 of the Eastern Division Championship Series between the top-seeded Orleans Firebirds, fresh off a 3-game win against Chatham in the first round, and the Brewster Whitecaps, who defeated YD in just about the most exciting ball game you'll ever see, Maura.
It absolutely was. I'm still kind of in the moment there. It's hard to shake that feeling. It was one of the greatest games I've ever seen. 10th inning, Zach Hagan comes off the bench, and I know I was talking to Jamie Shevchik about this, and he said that was probably the biggest hit of the game. Zach Hagan got a single with 2 outs, and then AJ Graffinino was able to drive him home. The Whitecaps went up 8-7, and then Ryan Sear, who we haven't seen a lot of this year, he joined the team so late, comes in and for the last 2 innings does a very good job and closes out the game for the Whitecaps. We also saw great performances from Zach Schneider. Paulie Milto started out the game pretty well too, so it was just an overall amazing game to watch and a full team effort by the Brewster Whitecaps to beat a very, very tough YD team and end that streak of 3 championships for YD. A
terrific ball game. Homers from Marty Costas and Kyle Datris. Well, it's hard to list all of the accomplishments and accolades that Brewster was able to put up in that ball game. But for Jamie Shevchik, they got to get right back on the saddle for this ball game here tonight. They're going up against the team with the best record in the league in the regular season, in the Orleans Firebirds. Their regular season numbers jump off the page, and they were able to impress as well against Chatham. For Jamie Shevchik and his club, how do you think they can switch gears going into another really tough 3-game series here?
Well, they need to focus. They need to put all their focus into Orleans. They can't think about last night at all. As much as it's going to linger and be exciting, it's not important anymore because this Orleans team, they only beat them twice in the regular season. Once at the very beginning of the year in the first game on June 14th, and then very recently they had one of their best performances against Orleans. They know they can beat them, but this is an Orleans team that kind of struggled a little bit against Chatham in terms of you maybe didn't expect them to lose the one game that they did lose. So they are a little vulnerable in that sense, but they've been hot all season, so you're going to have to come out swinging and get out to an early lead, which is what Jamie Shevchik always says to his team.
All right, here's the lineup that Jamie Shevchik will be sending out to try and get some runs on the board. Nick Dunn, as usual, is leading off and playing second base. Kyle Datris will be hitting second and playing third base for the Whitecaps. Mickey Gasper is back behind the plate for this ball game, batting in his usual 3 spot. Marty Costas will clean up and play left field. Chandler Taylor, the right fielder, is hitting 5th for this ball game. Zach Hagan is starting tonight after the big hit yesterday that Jamie Shevchik, as you said, Maura, was so proud of. He'll be at first base and batting in the 6th spot for Brewster. He's followed by Hunter Bishop. He will be batting 7th and playing center field. Christian Malfetta will be the Whitecaps DH in this ball game. His first start of the playoffs. He'll be batting 8th. And AJ Graffinino is the number 9 hitter for Brewster, and he will be lined up at shortstop. And the Whitecaps will be sending out Jonathan Stever to start this ball game tonight against the Orleans Firebirds. And for a little bit more about him, let's go to Aiden Doyle. Aiden?
Thanks, Carter. Well, Jonathan Stever's a guy who throws a lot of strikes in 26 innings this year, just 2 walks. And while that typically is a good thing, Coach Shevchik talks about how important it is for his pitchers to throw strikes. He's a little bit worried that Stever might throw a bit too many. He really wants to see him here today against a very tough Firebirds lineup. Try and locate more around the edges. He compared him to Brendan Nail of the YD Red Sox who pitched yesterday. He said the thing with Nail is he doesn't throw that hard, typically only 88 to 91, but what he does is he locates his pitches around the edges of the strike zone. It's not just in the same, right down the middle, perfect strike every time. He's in and out of the strike zone, commands his pitches well. And the thing for Stever today, mix speeds, change locations, and not only throw strikes, but throw a few more balls as well. Back to you guys.
Okay, thank you, Aiden. That's an interesting comparison there with Brendan Nail, because Nail, of course, is a guy who kind of has an attacking mode when he goes up there, throws a lot of fastballs, but as Aiden said, kind of locates them just a little bit more. Here's the lineup that Jonathan Stever is going to be facing for the Orleans Firebirds, one of the best lineups in the Cape League. Jimmy Herron will be leading things off and playing center field. The Whitecaps have talked a lot about how difficult he is to stop. He'll be starting off the lineup for Kelly Nicholson's team. Ethan Paul, the second baseman, back second. Nico Decolati will be hitting third and playing right field. Steven Scott will clean up and play left. Jax Groshans, the DH, bats fifth. Brandon Shearer will be playing third base and hitting him a 6-hole. Lars Nootbaar, the first baseman, hits seventh. Cesar Salazar will be catching and batting eighth for the Firebirds. And Jeff Hopey will be rounding out the lineup, batting in the 9th spot. Well, the national anthem is fast approaching here at Eldridge Park, so we'll take a break. When we come back, it's playoff baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan. We welcome you back to Eldridge Park here in Orleans, Massachusetts. Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan here with you. Baseball game hasn't quite started, but the anthem and first pitch are over with, and Brett Daniels, the starter for the Orleans Firebirds, is taking his warm-up pitches. Brett Daniels is a man that Brewster has not seen since way back when on July 2nd. He has made 3 starts this year. They were all late in the season. 13 appearances in total for him. In the regular season, he had a .376 ERA and 28 2/3 innings pitched, had 23 Ks to just 6 walks. What do you think the Brewster hitters' game plan should be against the UNC Tar Heel tonight, Maura?
Well, I think they need to show some plate discipline. They need to play their game. I mean, every time they play their game, it seems like they win. The couple times we've seen them swinging at pitches that they normally wouldn't swing at, those have been tough games for the Whitecaps. When they show plate discipline as they did yesterday, they're not a team that's, going to hit it out of the park every time. If they show the plate discipline that they do, they've had some of their biggest moments be walks. And that's going to be kind of difficult with Brett Daniels. As you mentioned, he only has 6, but you can work that. And I think that this Whitecaps team has done it against some pitchers you would have never thought they would, against Riley McCauley yesterday and Brendan Nail. So as long as they play their game, they can really beat anybody.
That's an excellent point. A lot of the big moments for Whitecaps pitching in this ball game have been times when they've been able to draw base on balls. In the past 3-game series in that first round, they drew 17 walks in those 3 games. It was a huge reason why they were able to come out victors in that series. All right, we're just about ready to get started here. Nick Dunn is digging into the left-handed batter's box. Again, it's Dunn, Datris, and Gasper, the 3 that will be due up for the Whitecaps against the right-hander Brett Daniels. And here comes the first pitch to the lefty Dunn. It is just a bit up high, says home plate umpire Mike Griffin. Griffin is joined by Mark Biondadosi at first base. Mickey Garcia, last year's Cape League Umpire of the Year, is at second. And Mark Chamberlain is at third. The pitch to Dunn is hit high in the air toward the left side foul. It will get out of play. So the count is 1-1 strike on Nick Dunn. I remember Mark Chamberlain, the ump over at third. He was umpiring behind the plate for the ball game yesterday between Brewster and Whitey at deciding Game 3. Here comes the 1-1. It's fouled away, and Dunn lost the handle on his baseball bat, sent it crashing into the screen over to the right of the Orleans dugout on the first base side. Everybody's all right. Bat boy's over there protected by a screen. It went just to the right of that screen, over to the boys' left. Anyway, the foul ball makes it 1-2 on Nick Dunn. Daniels staring in, and here comes the 1-2 pitch. It's looped into left side, one hopper to the shortstop, Hopeby, who fields and throws to first base in time for out number 1. Kind of a strange little hit there, off-speed pitch that Dunn just kind of stuck his bat out for, and Hopeby was able to get the 6-3 put out. The defense in full for Orleans. Brennan Shear is at third. Jeff Hopeby, as we mentioned, is the shortstop. Ethan Paul is at second base. Lars Newbar is at first. In the outfield, it's Scott, Heron, and Dechalati left to right in the outfield for Orleans. And Cesar Salazar will be behind the plate doing the catching for Brett Daniels in this ball game, at least to start things out for Kelly Nicholson's club. Here's the righty Kyle Datris, and the first pitch to him is hit high in the air towards shallow right field. Coming in is Nico Dechalati. He is called off by the second baseman Paul, who makes the catch in shallow right for out number 2. So 2 pieces of soft contact to start things off for Brett Daniels. Certainly a good sign for the rising junior from UNC. And now it's Mickey Gasper's turn. Gasper taking his customary practice swing before he digs in. Digging in from the left side here is the switch hitter against the righty Daniels. Here's the first pitch to Gasper. It's in there for a called strike on an opening fastball to make the count 0-1. We are just underway here at Eldridge Park, top of the first inning of a scoreless game here in Game 1 of the Eastern Division Championship Series. 0-1 pitch to Gasper. Is it high in the air, foul behind the plate? Salazar takes off the mask and makes the grab, maybe a few steps to the right of the home plate circle to retire the side. So very quickly, the Whitecaps go down in order here in the top of inning number 1. At the end of the half, it's Brewster 0 and the Orleans Firebirds coming to bat. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Here are Carter Wadeel and Maura Sheridan. We welcome you back to Eldridge Park in Game 1 of the Eastern Division Championship Series. Brewster went down in order in the top of the first, so it'll be Orleans up to bat in a scoreless game, and Jonathan Stever has just finished his warm-up pitches on the mound for the Brewster Whitecaps. This is the first appearance that Stever has made in the playoffs for the Whitecaps. The regular season, 10 games, just 1 start, a 4.45 ERA. He struck out 25 and only walked 2 in 28 1/3. But as Aiden Doyle talked about a little bit before the ball game, the coaching staff is kind of hoping to maybe see him work around the edges instead of just straight up attacking with the fastball like he likes to. Here's Jimmy Herron, and the leadoff hitter grounds one foul toward the left side, over toward the Whitecaps dugout on the third base side. Herron, a right-handed hitter, taking a healthy swing at that one. I'm sure Kelly Nicholson knows how aggressive Jonathan Stever can be on the mound and has communicated that to his club. The 0-1 pitch is downstairs for ball one, so it's 1 ball and 1 strike on Jimmy Herron. Herron, one of the toughest guys to get out on the Cape. Here comes the 1-1. It's hit hard down the left field line. It's past the diving Datris and into left field for a base hit. Herron is into first base. He will take a wide turn there, but stay where he is at first, though he's always a threat to steal second once he gets there. It's a leadoff single for Herron to start off the bottom of the first for Orleans.
The last time these two teams played and Brewster pulled out that big win, when I was talking to Coach Jamie Shevchik before the game, he said one of the secrets to success is not letting Jimmy Herron get on to start the game, because so many times he comes home and he's really what propels this offense and gets them going. And so that could come back to haunt Brewster. I know it's just a single, but.
Herron with 13 steals in the regular season. Here's Ethan Paul. He takes a strike at the knees to start off his at-bat. Paul, a left-handed hitter out of Vanderbilt. Herron is 1 for 1 stealing bases in the playoffs so far. A Cape League MVP candidate wound up getting beaten out by Grayson Genista for that honor. And they will throw over to first base Will Stever to check on him. And now for Stever, a guy who we've talked about how he likes to attack. He works pretty quickly out there on the mound. It can also disrupt your rhythm as a pitcher to have a guy that you know is a real pest on the base paths. We're in the bottom of the first of a scoreless game. Here comes the 0-1. It just misses low despite the best attempts of Gasper to frame that. Gasper puts his hands on his hips after throwing the baseball back to Stever. But the call is made by Mike Griffin, a ball. 1-1 is the count on Ethan Paul, who is 3 for 14 with 3 singles and 2 ribbies in the playoffs so far. Here comes the 1-1. Misses down and away. And the count is 2-1. Jonathan Stever's typical game plan is to attack with the fastball and then use his changeup, which is very deceptive, to pull the string on hitters. But as Aiden was saying, he really has to keep guys guessing in order to be effective, especially when he's throwing nothing but strikes, which is what he likes to do. Here's the 2-1 pitch. It's hit high on a ground ball, right side. Moving over is Dunn, but it's past him and into right field for a base hit. Dunn was pinching towards second to try and get a double play, and so that high chopper wound up getting through to right field. So 2 singles to begin the bottom of the first inning for the Firebirds. I mean, it's 2 on and no one out for Decolati. The defense for Brewster will get you set on that. Costas, Bishop, and Taylor left to right in the outfield. Third to first in the infield, it's Kyle Datris, A.J. Graffinino, Nick Dunn, and Zach Cahagan is the first baseman for the Whitecaps. Mickey Gasper doing the catching for Brewster and Jonathan Stever. Christian Malfetta is the DH for the Whitecaps. And play has stopped here. Everybody's looking out toward left field. I suppose a baseball must have found its way out there, and looked like left fielder for Brewster, Marty Costas, is... Well, I thought he was going over to retrieve something. Anyway, a stoppage in play. They were all looking over toward left field, and now it looks like it has been resolved. The bullpen is out there for Brewster, so the educated guess would be there was a ball on the field, and you always want to make sure those get cleared away. Never want to have a safety issue out there, so good job by the umpiring crew to spot that and get that taken care of. A 4-man umpiring crew for these playoffs, unlike the traditional 3-man crew that we typically saw in regular season games up to this point. So here's the righty, Decolati. The first pitch to him is bunted down the third base line. It's a high chopper. It's going to roll into the glove. No, fielded on the bare hand by Datris, and safe at first base on the throw is Decolati. Not sure if that would have stayed fair or gone foul, but Datris decided he can make the play with the bare hand and could not throw it over there in time. So a bunt single loads the bases with nobody out here in the bottom of the first inning of a scoreless game. And now Steven Scott, the Cape League leader in runs batted in the regular season, will come up and a golden opportunity to drive in a run here. Bases loaded, nobody out. And all 3 runners have at least some speed to them, especially Jimmy Herron at third base. With all the room out in the outfield at Eldredge Park, a sac flies seeming likely if he gets out there. First pitch is in there for a called strike on the outer half to make the count 0-1 on Steven Scott. Scott 1 for 10 in the playoffs so far. Does have 1 ribby for the Firebirds in that 3-game series win against the Chatham Anglers. 0-1 pitch, misses low. So the count 1 ball and 1 strike on Steven Scott. Orleans dispatched Chatham. The home team won all 3 games of that series. Firebirds won the first and third games here at Eldridge Park and lost the game over at Veterans Field in Chatham. 1-1 pitch misses up. The Whitecaps have the corners in right now. Gahagan, the first baseman, and Datchers, the third baseman, are just about even with the baseline. In fact, Gahagan might be a couple of steps into the infield grass. But the middle infielders are double play depth. 2-1 pitch misses low. So it's 3-1 now as that one found the dirt and Gasper gloved it. Very important for Mickey Gasper to put up a wall right now with a guy like Jimmy Herron on third base. Any pitch that squirts through, he can come in and score. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Out in front of that one was Steven Scott. Stever fooled him there, and the count is full now on Scott, 3-2. And this is a spot where Jonathan Stever would love to get a strikeout. With the bases loaded, nobody out. We're in the bottom of the first inning, no score yet here in Game 1 at Eldridge Park. 3-2 pitch. Is it high in the air, left field? That one's going to be caught on a line drive by Marty Casas in left field. Tagging from third base is Herron. The throw will be cut off toward home plate, so it's a sacrifice fly and an RBI for Steven Scott, and the Firebirds have a 1-0 lead here in the first. That was a hard hit ball right into the glove of Costas, and it wasn't particularly deep out there, but Jimmy Herron had plenty of speed to bring that one in for the first run of this game. And now Jax Groshans will dig in for Orleans. No other runners moved up. It's still first and second with now 1 man out. And Brewster surely looking for a twin killing here. Groshans digging in from the right side for the Orleans Firebirds. A versatile player is Jax Groshans defensively. Today he's the DH. The pitch is in there for a strike on the outer half to make the count 0-1 on Groshans, who is having a good playoffs. 4 for 8 with 3 ribbies, including an RBI single in the Game 3 victory for Orleans. Here comes the 0-1 from Stever. It's hit hard to left field, base hit. Heading into third base and being held up there by the third base coach Benny Craig is the runner Ethan Paul. That was a hard hit ball, a laser over to Marty Casas. I think it only fielded on 1 hop out there. In any case, it was hit too hard to bring in a run, but it's now bases loaded once more for the Firebirds, and it's Brandon Shearer's turn.
Well, this has been a very tough start for Jonathan Stever, and what makes the Firebirds so lethal is that even when you go down their lineup, they really don't, it's not a big drop-off. As we see Lars Newbar, sometimes he hits in the 2 spot. He's hitting in the 7 spot due up after Shearer, and so they're just a dangerous team throughout.
Here's the lefty Shearer. He fouls the first pitch straight back behind him to the screen to make the count 0-1. Shearer is 3 for 9 with 1 RBI in the playoff. He's a player the Whitecaps haven't seen before. He was activated just before that ball game that these two teams played near the end of the season. The pitch is fouled back to the screen. Shearer, rising junior from Agora Hills, California, went to Texas Lutheran and will be heading to Loyola Marymount this coming season. 0-2 is the count. We're in the bottom of the first inning. Orleans already has 1 run in. They're up 1-0 here in Game 1. Stever is ready. The 0-2 pitch way up high. Gasper hops out of his crouch to glove it. And the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes on Brandon Shearer. Efficiency is going to be important, not just in this ball game, but throughout the series for Whitecaps pitching. Here comes the 1-2. It's hit hard in the ground through the middle. Moving to his left and scooping it up is Graffinino. He steps on the second base bag for 1 and throws to first base for a double play. Just what the doctor ordered for Brewster. H.A. Graffinino starts up a 6.63 DP, and they leave 2 runners stranded due to the Orleans Firebirds in this first frame. So for Brewster, just the 1 run after the Whitecaps allowed Orleans to load the bases with nobody out. You have to feel pretty good about that if you're Jonathan Stever. In any case, 1 run on 4 hits and 2 left for Orleans in the first at the end of 1 inning of play here at Eldridge Park. It's 1-0 Firebirds. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. We welcome you back to Eldridge Park. We are starting the second frame here between the Whitecaps and the Firebirds, and Orleans has an early 1-0 lead. They loaded the bases with nobody out, but just got the one run thanks to an ending double play in part from A.J. Graffinino. Brewster went down in order in the first, so it's Costas to lead things off. The pitch to the righty misses low. The count is 1-0 on Marty Costas. Costas, Taylor, and Gehagen, the full trio, due up for the Whitecaps here in the top of inning number 2. And here comes the 1-0 pitch to Costas. It misses away. And the count is 2-0 on Marty. Costas had a dramatic home run in yesterday's game, one of a lot of dramatic plays in that 8-7 win for the Whitecaps. 2-0 pitch. Misses up high, so it's 3-0 on Marty Costas, who tied the game with a solo home run in inning number 7. Was followed up by that go-ahead homer from Kyle Datris the following frame. 3-0 pitch is in there for a called strike. Costas had turned toward the Brewster dugout. Looked like he was about to get rid of his bat, but the strike was called by Mike Griffin behind the plate. 3-1 is the count. And Daniel stares right back in. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. It's hit high in the air to straightaway center field. A ton of room out there. Heading back a couple of steps is Jimmy Herron, and he makes the catch for out number 1. I tell you what, we were at Red Wilson Field yesterday, and for 2 of the 3 games of that series, you couldn't find a more different ballpark in terms of how it plays from Red Wilson Field than here in Orleans. It's 434 to straightaway center. That's an 80-foot difference from where it is at Red Wilson Field, where it's 352 out there. And yet here there's a short porch out to left field. That's a part of the ballpark at Red Wilson where it plays kind of big, so a very different set of circumstances. Anyway, Costas flies out to center, and here's Chandler Taylor, who takes a strike to begin his at-bat, and the count is 0-1 on the Alabama product. Taylor has yet to really get it going in the playoffs. 2 for 10 in that series with YD. 0-1 pitch is hit high in the air, foul behind the plate. Out of play, and the count is 0-2 on Chandler Taylor. We're in the top of the second inning. The Whitecaps trailing the Orleans Firebirds by a score of 1-0. Righty Daniels kicks and deals the 0-2 pitch. Foul back again to the screen. And so it will still be no balls and 2 strikes on Chandler Taylor. One of the things that's stymied Chandler Taylor is falling behind in counts. 6 strikeouts in that 3-game series against the Red Sox. Here comes the 0-2. Misses in the dirt to make the count 1-2. Taylor led the Whitecaps in strikeouts in the regular season for Brewster. Had 43 of those in the 44 games that the Whitecaps played. Here comes the 1-2. Swing and a miss out in front of that one. Pulled the string on an off-speed pitch there. Did Brett Daniels, and Chandler Taylor is retired via the K. 5 up, 5 down for Daniels to start this game. And now here comes Zach Gehagen. Gehagen is one of those guys that earned himself some playoff playing time in the last few days of the season when Jamie Shevchik was shuffling the lineups around to try and find guys that were, in his words, dialed in. First pitch to the righty is in there for a called strike on an opening fastball that looked to be up at the letters, and the count is 0-1 on Zach Gehagen. And Gehagen delivered in a big spot yesterday, came in as a pinch hitter. Here comes the 0-1. It's hit high in the air to right center field, a mile high out to center field. Moving over to his left is Jimmy Herron. He calls off the right fielder Decolati and makes the catch. After some time, that baseball got up there for out number 3. So the Whitecaps go 6 up, 6 down to begin the ball game. At the end of an inning and a half, Brewster trails Orleans 1-0. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Waddell and Maura Sheridan. Back here at Eldridge Park, Brewster trailing the Orleans Firebirds 1-0. We're starting the bottom of the second, and the bottom third of the Firebirds order is due up. Starting with the lefty Lars Newtbar, and the first pitch to him is taken just a bit inside on an opening fastball from Jonathan Seaver to make the count 1 ball and no strikes. Orleans took their 1-0 lead on a sacrifice fly from Steven Scott in the first inning. Here's the 1-0 pitch. It's in there for a called strike. Again on the inner half of the plate to make the count 1-1 on Newtbar, who is 2 for 7 with a pair of runs batted in so far in the playoffs. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Hit hard on the ground, right side. It's through to right field for a base hit. Another frozen rope off the bat of a Firebird hitter. They are hitting it hard off of Seaver early on in this ball game. A leadoff single for Newtbar.
Yeah, you said it, Carter. It seems like it's all been hard contact, and every hit they've gotten has been really roped by the Firebirds, and that's what Jamie Shevchik wants the Whitecaps to do. So kind of the tables turning here on them, as that's what they were doing yesterday to the YD Red Sox, and Jonathan Seaver has yet to really settle in out there on the mound.
This has been Orleans' MO since all season. They are known for jumping on teams early and then coasting through with their excellent bullpen. First pitch swinging off the bat of Salazar. He fouls it away toward the left side. So it's 0-1 on Cesar Salazar, who is 2 for 6 in the playoffs so far in the starting lineup as a catcher for Kelly Nicholson's team. Runner on first base and nobody out. Here in the bottom of the second pitch. It's hit high in the air toward shallow left field. It's heading toward foul territory, and that will get out of play over in the little lawn chair area between the field of play and Route 28 on the left side. So it's 0-2 on Salazar, who is an Arizona Wildcat. That's where he'll be going this coming spring and for the Academics in the fall. 0-2 pitch is fouled away toward the right side. School getting ever closer for a lot of these players as the playoffs start to wind down. The lights are on here at Eldridge Park with Brewster trailing Orleans 1-0 in the bottom of inning number 2. The sun is not quite out of view, but it's very close. It's almost gone over the building over on the right side. 0-2 pitch misses off the outside corner, so the count is 1-2. That's a pretty good pitch, I think, from Jonathan Seaver, considering what the coaching staff has asked him. That looked like it was pretty well located, not in the zone, but able to throw a non-strike, as it were. Anyway, 1-2 is the count on the lefty Cesar Salazar. The pitch is fouled back toward the left side, and that went right over a car on Route 28. Thought for a second we might see our second smashed windshield in as many days. We saw one in the parking lot in YD get a sedan redone. 1-2 is the count on Salazar. Seaver shakes off one sign from Gasper, but gets the one that he wants. And here comes the 1-2. Runner going for second base. Pitches it hard to right field. Base hit. Heading around second base is Lars Newtbar. He will head into third. It's bobbled out there by the right fielder Chandler Taylor, but everybody will stay where they were. First and third on the single by Cesar Salazar. And once again, the Firebirds are threatening here in the bottom of the second. And now Jeff Hopi will dig in for Orleans. An important spot here for the number 9 hitter. We talked about how important efficiency is for Brewster. Pitching depth is one of the Achilles heels of this Whitecaps team, and it's one of the real strengths for the Orleans Firebirds as a team. Brewster trailing in this ball game by a score of 1-0 here in the bottom of the second. First pitch is bunted by Hopi towards the first base side. The pitcher Stever fields it with the glove hand and only has one play to first. The squeeze play works. Heading in from third base to score is Lars Newtbar with the second run of the ball game. It's now 2-0 in favor of the Firebirds. And now it's back to the top of the order and Jimmy Herron. Jimmy Herron singled his first time up. We've seen a ton of hard contact against Jonathan Stever early on in this ball game. Here's the pitch to the righty Herron. It misses low to make the count 1-0. Really, when you think about it, the one unproductive play that we've seen off the bat of an Orleans Firebird was the double play to end the first inning. The other two outs have been a sac fly and that squeeze play, the two RBI plays. 1-0 pitch misses low to Herron. to make the count 2-0. Heron was the one who scored on the sac fly in the first inning. It was off the bat of Steven Scott. A frozen rope to left field where Marty Costas gloved it out there. But Heron used his speed to come in. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. It's hit hard down the line. Foul left side. Whacks into the netting out there, and the count is 2-1. Great here at Eldridge Park, all the netting that they have to protect the spectators. This is a ballpark that relies almost entirely on the blanket and lawn chair. A gorgeous sight when it's full like it is tonight. A terrific crowd for this playoff game. 2-1 pitch is fouled away, right side, over everything. And so the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes on Jimmy Heron. Runner aboard at second base with 1 man out. Whitecaps trailing 2-0 to the Orleans Firebirds in Game 1 of this 3-game East Division Championship Series. Holding the set is Stever. The pitch is a high chopper toward the left side. The shortstop Graffinino fields it. He throws to first base. It is not in time, despite a terrific stretch from Gehagen. First base umpire Mark Pianadosi says he is safe at first base. Advancing to third on the play is Salazar, and the infield single means it's first and third with 1 out for the Firebirds.
Well, the Whitecaps defense is going to have to be on their feet today, as we've seen 2 Orleans Firebirds outrun, I guess, the initial throw, as we saw Kyle Datris' throw just not be in time, and then we just saw AJ Graffinino not be in time. So those guys have quick hands, but I guess they're going to have to be quicker today with a really speedy Orleans team.
Here's Ethan Paul. First and third, 1 out for the lefty hitter Paul against the righty Stever. The pitch shows bunt and bunts it in the air. Diving is Gehagen, and he makes a terrific play. Zach Gehagen with a terrific catch, diving in front of him to the dirt to grab that bunt for out number 2. What a play from the Brewster first baseman.
Wow, Zach Gehagen, I honestly didn't even see him there, and then all of a sudden just jumps out of nowhere and lays his body on the line there and gets the pop-up bunt, I guess, to preserve the out. But that was a great play by him, and also stopped any runs from coming home or any movement on the base pass. So just a great play there by Zach Gehagen.
And it really changes the way this inning looks now, preventing that another squeeze attempt called for by Kelly Nicholson. Now there are 2 men out. The infield can play back. They can just play for 1, as opposed to having to guard a possible sacrifice fly or a run coming in on the ground ball. It's now Nico Decolati's turn. Speaking of bunts, he reached on a bunt single his first time up in the first inning, was stranded aboard second base after that ending double play. He's a right-handed hitter. Here's the pitch. Hit hard on the ground, a high chopper to third. Moving to his right is Datris. He throws across the diamond, and it's a wild throw. It gets out of play. A collision at first base between Decolati and Gehagen. A run comes in to score, and advancing to third base on the play is Jimmy Heron. It's now 3-0 Orleans. Took a second to get up off the ground to Decolati, but he looks to be all right. Kind of a scary play. Gehagen had to leap up to try and field that baseball and then collided with the runner, but it looks like they'll both be able to walk it off. In any case, it's now first and third again for the Firebirds, and they are ahead 3-0.
Well, we saw that happen yesterday, too, to Kyle Datris. He overthrew Mickey Gasper, who was at first, and that one was going to be a tough play for Zach Gehagen to make, and as Decolati was running at him, too, made it even tougher. And this, as you said, Gehagen made a great play, changed the ball game, and then an error right there can kind of put you back in the same spot.
That scored an E5 on Kyle Datris. Here's the lefty swinging Steven Scott, and the first pitch swinging fouls it away. Make the count 0-1. So every other run that the Firebirds might put across in this frame will be unearned in the book. 3-0, Orleans on top here in the bottom of the second. It's been a rough go of it for Jonathan Stever early on in this game. Does look like there is some action out in the Whitecaps' pen. The pitch, check swing on a pitch that was low. They appeal to third base, and he went around, says third base umpire Mark Chamberlain. And the count is 0-2 on Steven Scott. Good job fooling the hitter there from Jonathan Stever, forcing the half swing from Scott. 0-2 the count. First and third, 2 men out. Stever trying to get out of this frame. 2 runs are in for the Firebirds. Pitch. Skips low in the dirt and heading over to second base on the play. We'll see how that's scored exactly, but going over to second is Nico Decolati. He kind of jogged over there, kind of a strange little play. And Decolati's on second with 2 men out. Second and third. So now Scott has the opportunity to bring in a couple here. Here comes the 1-2. A ground ball to first. Another high chopper fielded by the first baseman Gehagen. He goes to the bag himself for the final out of the second inning. But Orleans gets 2 runs in this inning. They get those 2 runs on 3 hits, 1 error, and 2 runners left on. At the end of 2 innings of play, the Whitecaps trailing the Orleans Firebirds 3-0 here in Game 1. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. We welcome you back to Eldridge Park here in Orleans. Want to remind you to visit Bastar's Restaurant at Chatham Bars Inn Resort and Spa for a world-class dining experience. A proud member of leading hotels of the world. We're starting the 3rd inning, and it's Hunter Bishop to lead things off for Brewster. The bottom third of the Whitecaps lineup due up against Brett Daniels. The first pitch to Bishop is taken for a called strike. So the count 0-1 on Bishop. Bishop is still looking for his first hit of the playoffs. Went 0 for 7 in the action that he saw the series versus YD. Here's the 0-1. Cut on and missed. To make the count 0-2. Bishop took a big rip at that one, but came up empty. So far for Brett Daniels, it's been kind of night and day from what we've seen from Stever. He's been comfortable, working quickly, has yet to allow a base runner to reach. And again, they're gesturing over to left field. Perhaps a ball got out from the dugout again. I don't know if maybe there are folks moving around that are being distracting to the hitter. I'm not sure. They just made an announcement over the PA, but I didn't catch it. In any case, the home plate umpire, Mike Griffin, is making sure to restore order. And now we're ready to play baseball again with the count 0-2 on Hunter Bishop. Here comes the pitch from Brett Daniels. It misses just off the outside corner to the lefty hitter, so the count is 1-2 on Hunter Bishop. The Firebirds are ahead 3-0. Here in the top of the third, here's the 1-2. Hit hard down the left field line. It's going to get out of play, foul. Oh, no, it tails in. It's a homer. My goodness. Well, shows how much I know. Hunter Bishop drills a line drive homer over the left field wall, and the Whitecaps have cut the lead to 3-1 here.
Well, you were talking about how that left field wall is kind of the place to go in terms of the shortest place on the field here at Eldridge Park, and Hunter Bishop just kind of proved that right, and that's his 2nd home run of the year. We've seen him show some power towards the end of the season, and he just got his team back into the game. The first hit the Whitecaps have is a homer.
So here is Malfetta. Let's see if that can light the fuse for the Whitecaps offense. The righty from Stanford swings and misses from the first offering from Daniels. So the score now is Brewster 1 and Orleans 3 with the Firebirds on top. We're in the top of inning number 3 here in Game 1 of the East Division Championship Series in Orleans. The pitch to Christian Malfetta. Is it high in the air, foul territory right side? That is going to get out of play, and you can trust me on that. It lands over by where the kids are out in that one of the bare spots over behind the Orleans dugout on the first base. One of the places in Eldridge Park where it's easiest to get a foul ball. Not a lot of folks setting up their lawn chairs or blankets because the view of the diamond is kind of blocked from the dugout over there. So in expanse, I saw a little dog playing out there before the ball game. 0-2 is the count, 3-1 Orleans. And Malfetta is asking for a new stick here. A splinter off of his old bat, so he'll rub up a new one. and will head back into the righty batter's box. Malfetta, this is the first start that he has gotten in the playoffs this season for the Brewster Whitecaps. The DH spot has changed hands many times for Jamie Shevchik on his lineup card. We've seen Darius Hill there. We've seen Michael Curry there. Now we see Christian Malfetta. And here is the 0-2 pitch to the man from Stanford, and it is in there for a called strike 3 on an off-speed pitch. So Malfetta is down looking, and that's the first out of the top of the third.
It's also the second strikeout for Brett Daniels. He's really just gotten guys to pop up. We haven't seen a lot of strikeouts from him today, but doing his job out there. And besides the Hunter Bishop homer, that's really the lone mistake that Daniels has made today.
So here's the shortstop, A.J. Graffinino. The pitch to a lefty hitter is hit high in the air, foul ground. It will tail out of play. That one made its way out to Route 28, took one bounce and went right into the trees. And so the count is 0-1 on Graffinino, who has had a terrific playoffs, including a game-winning double in that thriller yesterday in the 10th inning. A 1 pitch to Graffinino is hit hard on the ground. The first baseman moving over to his right. Newbar picks it up. He'll go to the bag himself and win the race to first base. And that's the second out of the top of the third. The Whitecaps trailing 3-1 here in the top of inning number 3, and it's back to the top of the order for Brewster. So far, the dinger from Hunter Bishop is the only hit of the game, only base runner of the game as well for the Brewster Whitecaps in this ball game tonight. Nick Dunn grounded out to shortstop his first time, left-handed hitter out of University of Maryland. The pitch. Is it hard to right field? And that's going to be caught by the second baseman, Paul. Nice job moving over to his left to snag that one up against his body. And that retires the side. But the Whitecaps do get a run on the solo home run from Hunter Bishop. 1 run, 1 hit, no one left at the end of 2.5 innings of play. The Whitecaps trail over Orleans 3-1. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan. We welcome you back to Eldridge Park, and we have a new pitcher to tell you about and a Whitecaps debut to tell you about as Shane McDonald is in this ball game now, the lefty hurler for the Brewster Whitecaps. McDonald was first added to this roster on the very last day of the regular season for Brewster, but is just now making his debut for the Whitecaps. He comes in with his team trailing 3-1, starting off the bottom of the third. Groshans, Shearer, and Newbar are the 3 hitters for Orleans that he will face here in this bottom of the third inning. McDonald spent his 4 collegiate years, his past 4, at Fordham University, but he took a medical redshirt his junior year, so he's got a 5th year ahead of him at Southern New Hampshire. So that's where what he's listed as on the roster. A man from Southern New Hampshire University is where he'll be headed. He comes to the Cape from the Hamptons League, pitched for the Long Island Road Warriors in the Hamptons League, and had a terrific performance in the Hamptons League Championship Series through 7 innings in the clincher and wound up taking home Championship Series MVP. So here's Jax Groshans. The pitch to the righty is hit high in the air to right field. Coming in is Chandler Taylor, now moving a bit to his left. He camps underneath it and makes the grab for out number 1 of the bottom of the third. So Groshans trying to be a little bit aggressive against McDonald early, and That's the first out of the bottom of inning number 3.
Well, Shane McDonald coming in and doing something that Jonathan Seaver didn't do in his first 2 innings, was get the first guy he sees out, as he allowed 2 singles to start out both the first and the second.
Here is Brandon Shearer. The pitch to the lefty hitter is in there for a called strike. Just rolling that one in there was Shane McDonald. Remember talking to Jamie Shevchik about how they were going to use McDonald, and he said that she was going to throw him right in with the rest of the relievers, and it was going to depend on matchups when he was going to get in. 0-1 pitch misses low to make the count 1-1. And for a team in the Brewster Whitecaps that needs some length right now, after the starter Jonathan Seaver just went 2 innings, this is the sort of guy you want. He's used to relieving, but he can go long if needed. 1-1 pitch misses up high, so the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. The final line on Seaver went 2 innings, gave up 7 hits, 3 runs, only 2 of which were earned. 1 came in on that error from Datris. No walks or Ks for Seaver. 2-1 is the count. Pitch to Shearer is fouled back. So it's 2 balls and 2 strikes on Brandon Shearer. Shearer, his first time up, hitting to that 6-6-3 double play to end the first inning, right when Orleans was knocking on the door. They had the bases loaded in that situation. Did scrape across 1 run on a sac fly. 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Shane McDonald retires the first 2 hitters he faces. Just kind of a half swing there from Brandon Shearer. Not a lot of conviction in that offering. So with 2 gone, it's Lars Newbar's turn. So the first strikeout as a Whitecap for Shane McDonald gets Brandon Shearer. Here is Newbar hitting from the left side for the Orleans Firebirds. He had a hard hit single his first time up, later came around to score him the second. The pitch is in there for a called strike just on the outer black in the judgment of Mike Griffin behind the plate. To Lars Newbar, the man out of USC, a Trojan by trade, originally from El Segundo, California. Here's the 0-1 pitch. It skips away from Gasper low. The count is 1 ball and 1 strike. Nobody on, 2 men out. We're in the bottom of the third, and New Orleans has a 3-1 lead here in Game 1 of this East Division Championship Series. The lights are on, and it looks like artificial lighting is now the majority source of lighting at the ballpark. It's getting late in the summer, and the sun kind of says sayonara earlier and earlier over the course of the games. 1-1 pitch. It misses low, so it's 2 balls and 1 strike on Lars Newbar, who is now 3 for 8 in the playoffs with his single in the second inning. Holding the set is Shane McDonald. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. It's in there for a called strike on the outer edge. Again, kind of giving that strike on the outside corner there was Mike Griffin, so it's 2 balls and 2 strikes on Lars Newbar. McDonald wearing number 10 for the Whitecaps. That's the jersey that once belonged to Travis Swaggerty, who departed for Team USA pretty quickly after the season started. 2-2 pitch hit hard on the ground to the right side, moving to his left to scoop it up as the second baseman done. He throws to Gahagan for out number 3. So Shane McDonald looking good in his debut for Brewster. 3 up, 3 down for the Firebirds in the bottom of the third. At the end of 3 innings of play, the Whitecaps trail Orleans 3-1. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Do you know what that sound is? That's your new digital marketing department. And that'll be your new web designer. And that's Haibu, where these experts are joined by many more, from web designers to search marketing specialists, who work hard to get your business noticed online and on mobile. Best of all, Haibu can do it all for you, or give you the tools to do it yourself. To find out more, go to haibu.com. That's HIBU.com. Or call 855-464-HIBU. Oh, that'll be your next new customer. Haibu, made for business.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan.
Kyle Datris, Mickey Gasper, and Marty Costas due up for the Brewster Whitecaps. It's Brett Daniels still on the mound for the Orleans Firebirds as Kyle Datris walks up to the plate. We're in the top of the 4th inning, and Orleans leads Brewster 3-1 in the first game of this second round playoff series. As you mentioned, the East crown on the line, a chance to move on to the championship also on the line, as Kyle Datris, Mickey Gasper, and Marty Costas, all guys that have had big playoffs, as Datris homered yesterday for Brewster to take a 6-5 lead in the 8th inning, as first pitch from Daniels misses below the knees, counts 1-0 on Kyle Datris. The sun setting here at Eldridge Park makes for a pretty picture as the 1-0 finds outside corner. Count moves to 1-1 on Datris. Datris in his first at-bat had a shallow pop fly caught by second baseman Ethan Paul. Again, counts 1-1, and here comes the 1-1 pitch. That one, again, finds the strike zone, and the count is 1-2 on Kyle Datris. The 1-2. A swing and a miss from Kyle Datris, and he will strike out to start out this top of the 4th inning. That's the 3rd strikeout on the day for Brett Daniels, who was really doing his job out there. Not typically a starter. He has started 3 games, but usually a relief guy for this Orleans Firebirds squad, but coming out in this playoff game and has really one big mistake, and that was a homer, a solo shot from Hunter Bishop. But other than that, Brett Daniels has been stellar on the mound as Mickey Gasper shows bunt and then takes it back, but it's still a called strike. So the count's 0-1 on Mickey Gasper. Gasper has been outstanding for the Brewster Whitecaps in the playoffs as the 0-1 misses outside. Counts 1-1 on Gasper. Gasper has 4 RBIs in the playoffs alone. Was the RBI leader for the Whitecaps in the regular season as well, as he'll hit one on the right field side that will tail foul. So counts 1-2. A nice catch over there as one of the fans gets an applause over in the right field hill as a nice barehanded catch. But the count's 1-2 on Mickey Gasper. There is one out. We're in the top of the 4th. Here comes the 1-2, a swing and a miss, and Mickey Gasper goes down via the strikeout. So back-to-back strikeouts for Brett Daniels. He is just not losing any steam. And there is now 2 outs, and Marty Costas is up to bat with nobody on.
That's a great way to put it, Maura. Daniels is just staying in his groove and attacking these hitters. He is not intimidated by the stage at all right now.
Daniels played at UNC Chapel Hill this year as a first pitch to Marty Costas. Fastball in for a strike, counts 0-1 on Costas. And UNC Chapel Hill they had a great regular season, but then a bit of a letdown as they lost in their own regional. As the 0-1 hit high into right field, moving back is Nico Decolati. He will get under it, make the grab, and that's 3 up, 3 down for the Brewster Whitecaps in the top of the 4th. A very quick top of the 4th inning, as has this entire game. No runs come through on no hits and nobody left on for Brewster. They still trail 3-1 on the Orleans Firebirds. Do not go anywhere. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. we're back at Eldridge Park. It's going to be Salazar, Hopey, and Heron. That's 8, 9, and 1 due up for the Orleans Firebirds. And Salazar now digging in with Shane McDonald on the mound for the Brewster Whitecaps. He replaced Jonathan Seaver in the last frame. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. First pitch from McDonald. Finds the outside corner, counts 0-1 on Salazar. Salazar had a single in the 2nd inning in his lone at-bat and also came home to score the 3rd and final run so far for the Orleans Firebirds. Again, they lead 3-1. Shane McDonald with the pitch, and that one hits the dirt before it crosses home plate, so the count's 1-1 on Salazar. Salazar attends Arizona, and one of his teammates, Alfonso Rivas, just got knocked out by the Brewster Whitecaps in the last series as Salazar hits one softly over to Zach Hagan, who steps on the bag, and that will do it for the first out.
I've been really impressed with Zach Hagan's defense these past few games in the playoffs. He's known as a guy who can kind of be a Swiss Army knife defensive player. He can do whatever you need. But he's been slotted at first for the past few games. He had a good stretch today. Didn't get the call, but had a nice play earlier in the ball game. Has won a couple of races on 3 unassisted plays. He's been very solid out there.
And now it's Jeff Hopey's turn for the Orleans Firebirds. McDonald with the pitch. That one misses below the knees. Count 1-0 on Hopey. Hopey over at shortstop today. We saw him with a nice sacrifice bunt, so he does have an RBI on the day. As the pitch from McDonald is fouled behind him over Route 28 into the trees, so the count's 1-1. We've talked about it before, but Route 28 sits just behind us on the left field side, and it always feels like it's going to hit a car. We've never seen it happen. That's because the trees kind of hang over Route 28 and make it hard for that to happen, as Hopey hits one to the shortstop, AJ Graffinino, who moves and throws it quickly. A nice throw there, quick hands by AJ Graffinino, and he gets Hopey out via the ground ball.
Excellent job with those instincts from Graffinino, and it's going to be a tough day for the middle infielders considering the weather we had last night. It was a rainy night, especially here on the lower Cape, and so that infield is kind of hard. It can be tough to field baseballs, and that one hopped all the way up toward Graffinino's chin. Did a great job making the throw.
So with 2 outs, it's Jimmy Heron up to bat as McDonald holding the set and staring in. Here comes the first pitch. That one finds a strike zone. Counts 0-1. I feel like we've been saying Jimmy Heron's name so much. This is his 3rd at-bat today. He already has 2 singles, so 2 for 2 for Jimmy Heron, and he did come home as well in the 1st inning. Here comes the 0-1. That one again hits the dirt and counts 1-1. McDonald, as we talked about, this is his debut. I feel like the Whitecaps have been using some new guys in the playoffs, which is just kind of tells you how much their pitching staff was depleted going into playoffs. They're throwing out new guys, and this is a true rookie. His first game in the Cape League. Shane McDonald misses outside, and the count's 2-1 on Jimmy Heron. There is 2 outs. We just saw 2 ground outs by Salazar and Hopey. McDonald with the 2-1. That one fastball that misses outside. Counts 3-1 on Heron. McDonald with the 3-1. This one fouled into the netting straight behind him by Jimmy Heron, and he runs the count full on Heron. So a long at-bat, one of the longer ones we've seen today on either side, really, as both teams have been working very quickly today, and the Orleans Firebirds offense was working very quickly. They already have 7 hits on the day. Here comes the payoff pitch. That one misses below the knees, and Jimmy Heron once again gets on for the Orleans Firebirds, this time via the walk, and that's the first walk for McDonald in this game and in the Cape League, as he does have a strikeout to his name. And now a base runner on first for Ethan Paul. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. The score is Orleans 3, Brewster 1. Both teams just trying to take game 1, get out to an early lead in this second round playoff matchup as McDonald misses outside to Paul in the count 1-0. Orleans the only top seed left in the playoffs, as we saw the West Division full of upsets as Wareham upset Falmouth and Bourne upset Cotuit, so it's the 3-4 matchup in the West as Paul fouls one behind him. And obviously Brewster, the 3 seed, beat the 2 seed in YD, so Orleans was the only team that was expected to win, so to speak. They were the 1 seed and were able to beat Chatham, although that game did go 3 games. Or that series went 3 games. Here comes the pitch from Paul. This one hit to AJ Graffinino at shortstop. Graffinino with the throw to Gehagen at first, and that completes the bottom of the 4th inning. No hits for the Orleans Firebirds, although they do get a base runner and leave him stranded at first. No runs come through. The score is still Orleans 3, Brewster 1. We're through 4 innings of play here at Eldridge Park. Do not go anywhere. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan.
Chandler Taylor, Zach Hagan, Hunter Bishop all due up in the top of the 5th inning as Chandler Taylor digs in for the Brewster Whitecaps. Again, it's still Brett Daniels on the mound for the Firebirds, who lead the Whitecaps 3-1. Daniels staring in. Here comes the pitch. That one finds the inside corner. Counts 0-1 on Chandler Taylor, who we saw go out on a strikeout in the 2nd inning. 1 of 4 for Brett Daniels today. Here comes 0-1, a big swing and miss from Chandler Taylor, moves the count to 0-2. Taylor is strikeout prone. We've seen him strike out a lot this year and a lot in the playoffs, although he does get on, or he has walked a lot in the playoffs as well, as the 0-2 misses in the dirt. Counts 1-2 on Taylor. The Whitecaps just trying to get some offense going as a foul tip by Chandler Taylor hits home plate ump Mike Griffin just in the chest protector and keeps this alive for Chandler Taylor. The count still 1-2. It's really a picturesque night here in Orleans as the sun is setting and it is pink and orange above us. As the 1-2 misses upstairs, count moves to 2-2 on Taylor. Daniels moving quickly. Here's a 2-2, a swing and a miss from Chandler Taylor. And for the 2nd time tonight, Chandler Taylor goes out with a big swing and miss.
Yeah, it was good for you to mention the walks for Chandler Taylor that he's had, but the strikeouts have really been an issue for him in this postseason. He's a guy who waits for his pitch. When he gets it, he can drive it, but so far has kind of had trouble finding early on. That's the way things can go when you're a power hitter like Taylor is.
And now it's Zach Gehagen's turn. With 1 out and nobody on, here comes the first pitch. Gehagen shows bunt and then pulls it back, but that's still a strike. A fastball just above the knees to Zach Gehagen. Count 0-1. the UNC Tar Heel. As we also see a Tar Heel on the mound. Here's the 1. Breaking ball, or an off pitch that finds the outside corner. Counts 0-2. Daniels and Gahagan, good friends at UNC. We've seen them exchange words many times, as there are so many Tar Heels in the Cape, 14 to be exact. Here comes the 0-2. This one hit high and foul on the right field side. Gahagan stays alive in the count, 0-2. Zach Gahagan has the best defensive play we've seen all day, as he was at first base and there was a pop-up bunt, and Gahagan was able to dive in and make the grab as he'll foul one on the third base side. Really laid his body on the line, and Jamie Shevchik always talks about, or as late has talked about, how Gahagan has earned himself a spot in the lineup offensively, but we've seen him step up defensively as well and really solidify himself as somebody that Jamie Shevchik might turn to as the playoffs continue. Here comes the pitch from Brett Daniels, a swing and a miss from Gahagan, and back-to-back strikeouts for Brett Daniels. For the second time today, we saw him do that to start out the 4th inning, and we're in the 5th, and Brett Daniels has once again struck out 2 Whitecaps.
And his off-speed pitches have really been working. Brewster has looked silly at times, swinging late on those off-speed pitches. Daniels has done a terrific job being deceptive so far.
First pitch to Hunter Bishop, cut on end. Missed there by Bishop. Swung at a low pitch from Daniels, just got Bishop to chase. Hunter Bishop, though, the lone source of offense for these Brewster Whitecaps. His solo shot in the 3rd is the only run that we've seen for the Whitecaps, as he hits one that will drop into left field. Hunter Bishop really flexing his muscles here, the only one on the Whitecaps that has been able to hit Daniels, as he gets a single that was roped into left field. A nice piece of hitting there by Hunter Bishop, as he's 2 for 2 on the day.
Man, he was 0 for 7 in the playoffs heading into this ball game. That's baseball for you. The guy who really was probably the coldest hitter in the lineup is coming in. As you said, Maury, he has been the Whitecaps' offense so far.
And now it's Christian Molfetta's turn with 2 outs and a runner on first. We've seen this story a lot for the Whitecaps. Get 2 quick outs, and then their offense comes alive later in the inning as Daniel stares in. Here comes the pitch to Molfetta. That one misses outside. Counts 1-0 on Christian Molfetta. As you mentioned, Carter, this is Molfetta's first playoff experience. Staring in is Daniels, and here comes the pitch, the 1-0. That one again misses outside, counts 2-0 on Christian Molfetta. Molfetta out of Stanford. Didn't play a lot for the Cardinals this year, but has told me that he's expecting to solidify himself into the lineup for Stanford, as the 2-0 is cut on and missed by Molfetta. Count 1. This is the first time we've seen Daniels working slowly, as this is really the first time there's been a base runner on, because Hunter Bishop got a home run, so obviously nobody was on for Daniels, and now Hunter Bishop is at first. And so he's working a little slower than we've seen so far today. This game moving quickly. It's 8:04 as Molfetta fouls one straight behind him into the backstop. Count moves to 2-2 on Christian Molfetta. The Firebirds up 3-1 in the top of the 5th inning on the Brewster Whitecaps. Daniels now staring in, sees the call he wants from Salazar, and here comes the pitch. The runner going, Bishop on the move to second, slides in, and Hunter Bishop is safe at second. A nice jump there from Hunter Bishop, and he swipes second, so now the first runner in scoring position of this game for the Brewster Whitecaps.
Doing it all today for Hunter Bishop. What a game for him. This has to be big for his confidence right now, how well he's performing out there. Getting that stolen base, had a terrific jump and was in well ahead of the throw.
And that will run the count full on Christian Molfetta, so the payoff pitch on its way as Daniels is staring in. And here comes the payoff pitch. That one taken in for a called strike. Molfetta very upset with that call, and Brett Daniels gets Christian Molfetta looking for the second time today, and the Whitecaps leave Hunter Bishop stranded at second. No runs come through off of one hit, and just one runner left on. Once again, the Orleans Firebirds lead 3-1. We're moving in to the bottom of the 5th inning. Stick with us. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. It's still Shane McDonald's game as we're in the bottom of the 5th inning, and the Orleans Firebirds are on top of the Brewster Whitecaps 3-1, and it's Nico Decolati up to bat. For the Firebirds, Decolati has gotten on twice today, one on a single in the first. Put down a nice bunted Decolati, and then got on an E5 on Kyle Datris, who overthrew first. This one hit again to Datris, who makes the throw, but this one just in the glove of Gahagan, and that will be the first out of the bottom of the 5th inning. Kyle Datris wasn't going to make the same mistake twice. Quick hands there from Datris, and that is a quick out for the Brewster Whitecaps.
Was a great job with that reaction there on Datris. Don't call it the hot corner for nothing. That was certainly a hot shot.
Now it's Steven Scott's turn. Scott was the first batter that is the only batter that hasn't faced McDonald today, as he shows bunt and then takes it for a ball. Counts 1-0 on Steven Scott. Scott teammates with Julian Infante, one of the Brewster Whitecaps at Vanderbilt. One of 5 Commodores here on the Cape this summer. The 1-0. Fastball right down the middle. Counts 1-1 on Steven Scott. As I mentioned, Scott and Infante teammates at Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt has a pretty interesting website, as we've talked about, I think, before off air, as the 1-1. A big swing and miss. Count moves to 1-2 on Steven Scott, and one of the questions they ask all the guys on the baseball team at Vanderbilt is who would play you in a movie, and Steven Scott believes that Mark Wahlberg would play him in a movie, as Julian Infante believes it would be Channing Tatum, so shooting for the stars there are both of them. That could be an interesting movie about Julian Infante and Steven Scott, as fouls one right behind him to the bat boys of the Orleans Firebirds. Stays alive in this at-bat. Shane McDonald staring in. He's ready on the mound. And nobody's on for Scott, as Decolati just grounded out. Start out this bottom of the 5th. The pitch, a strike from Shane McDonald on the outside corner, and that's a strikeout. And gets the power hitter Steven Scott looking on the outside edge. And now with 2 outs, Shane McDonald will face Jax Groshans. Groshans was the first batter that McDonald faced in the Cape League, actually, as We talked about this is his debut and has done a very good job so far. Just allowed one base runner, and that was off of a walk. He walked Jimmy Herron in the last frame, and since then, really has been unstoppable. And before then, McDonald coming in and doing his job, but the Whitecaps are still down 3-1 in the bottom of the 5th. First pitch just is in the count's 1-0 on Groshans. Groshans has a hit today. That was in the first inning, and then his last at-bat in the 3rd. Hit a pop fly over to Chandler Taylor. Hits one over the head of Nick Dunn that drops into right field, right to Chandler Taylor. But that will be another single for Jax Groshans, and that's the first hit that the Orleans Firebirds have mustered off against Shane McDonald.
Yeah, first piece of hard contact. That was a great piece of hitting there from Jax Groshans, and you're right, Shane McDonald has really done an excellent job. I know we saw such a great game from Schneider yesterday, another new addition to the Whitecaps dugout. McDonald doing the same sort of thing here.
So with Groshans at first, it's Brendan Shearer up to bat as first pitch finds the outside corner and counts 0-1 on Shearer. Shearer out of Loyola Marymount joined the team just 9 games ago as the 0-1 hit to Nick Dunn at second. He'll make the throw over to Gahagan at first, and that will complete this bottom of the 5th inning. The score is still 3-1. The Firebirds are up on the Brewster Whitecaps. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Welcome back to Eldridge Park. It's going to be Graffinino, Dunn, Datris due up for the Brewster Whitecaps. We're in the top of the 6th inning, and Brewster trails the Orleans Firebirds 3-1. Here comes the pitch as Brett Daniels still on the mound. Finds the outside corner, counts Graffinino. Graffinino, the hero of yesterday's game, had a double in the top of the 10th inning. That made it an 8-0 game. And the Whitecaps would hang on in the bottom of the 7th as the pitch misses low below the knees to Graffinino. Count moves to 1-1. And they would take the series against YD. A very exciting game as the 1-1. A fastball that finds the inside corner this time. Counts 1-2 on Graffinino. Daniels with the 1-2, a swing and a miss from Graffinino. A dropped third strike, though, as Salazar will have to throw down to first to complete the strikeout, but he does, and AJ Graffinino goes out on a strikeout. Something I've been saying a lot today, as Daniels now has, well, it's going to take a lot for me to count this up, but 4, If I am right, he has 7 strikeouts already on the day. Daniels has been doing a stellar job on the mound. As Nick Dunn fouls the first pitch he sees above us. We are on the left of Dunn, and that one went above Route 28 into the trees there. So the count's 0-1 on Nick Dunn, the leadoff guy for the Brewster Whitecaps. Here comes the 0-1. This one hit hard into center field. Moving is Jimmy Herron, and he will have to kind of backhand that one, but he will indeed make the catch, so that's 2 up, 2 down for the Brewster Whitecaps. And now it's Kyle Datris up to bat for Brewster. With nobody on, something that we've been saying all game as Kyle Datris digs in for the Whitecaps. In the first inning, Kyle Datris had a shallow pop-up over to second base as the first pitch from Daniels misses inside, counts 1-0 on Kyle Datris. And then in the fourth inning, Kyle Datris was one of the strikeout victims from Daniels as Datris hits one over the second base bag, and that will be a base hit for the Brewster Whitecaps. Just the 3rd hit today for Brewster, and Kyle Datris is on with 2 outs and Mickey Gasper up to bat for the Whitecaps. Gasper has come up in big spots in the playoffs. As I mentioned before, he has 4 RBIs. Got the captain's award for the Whitecaps as the first pitch from Daniels, a big swing and miss from Mickey Gasper, as visibly upset is Gasper on chasing on that pitch. Then the count's 0-1. But Mickey Gasper has been the true leader of this team. As I mentioned, got the captain's award, was the team MVP. Plays at a small school in Bryant, but you wouldn't know that as you see him play in the Cape League, and he takes the next pitch low and counts 1-1. Brewster just trying to get back in the game. They're only down 2 runs, but really have struggled to muster up any offense as a 1-1 cut on and missed by Mickey Gasper. Counts 1-2 on the Bryant Bulldog. Again, Kyle Datris is at first for the Brewster Whitecaps. Here comes the 1-2. This one hit over to second baseman Ethan Paul, who is able to throw it up to Lars Newbar and complete the frame. The Whitecaps do get a hit, but they leave Kyle Datris stranded at first. No runs come in for the Whitecaps. The score is still 3-1. Orleans on top of Brewster. We're through 5.5 innings of play. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Welcome back to Eldridge Park, and as we've talked about before, the Brewster Whitecaps roster is ever changing, and that is not ending anytime soon, as our own Aiden Doyle has some updates on roster moves. Aiden?
Thank you, Maura. Well, here at Eldridge Park, the Whitecaps have just 1 run on 3 hits, and they've lost an offensive weapon on their bench. All-star catcher and designated hitter Michael Curry has returned to his home to be with his family due to a family matter. In a game like this, though, you got to believe Curry would be one of the first guys off the bench in maybe a big scenario for a pinch hit home run. He was an all-star and did have 2 home runs in the regular season.
Thanks so much, Aiden. Well, we wish Michael Curry and his family the best. And that is a huge loss for the Brewster Whitecaps, as Aiden was talking about. Curry has been an offensive threat for Brewster all year. McDonald's still on the mound. Here's the pitch to Lars Newbar. That misses below the knees. Counts 1-0 on Newbar. Newbar out of USC. Hitting in the 7th spot today. We've seen him in the 2 spot. Sometimes the leadoff hitter has the pitch from McDonald is in for a strike. Counts 1-1 on Newbar. The Firebirds are up 3-1 on the Whitecaps in Game 1 of the second round of the CCBL playoffs, as big swing and miss there from Newbar. That one actually foul tipped into the glove of Mickey Gasper. Counts 1-2 on Newbar. Newbar had a single in the second, then came around to score to make this a 2-1 game, and in his last at-bat in the third, grounded out in a 4-3 ground out. As the next pitch from McDonald in the dirt. Counts 2-2 on Newbar. We've only seen one hit for the Orleans Firebirds against McDonald, who has been stellar in relief for Jonathan Stever, who gave up 7 hits for the Whitecaps, as Newbar fouls one on the first base side. That one just chopped softly. And he'll stay alive. The count is still 2-2 on Newbar. McDonald has only surrendered 2 base runners as well, as he only allowed 1 walk and just a hit in the last frame. And since then, really not a lot of offense for the Orleans Firebirds, or since Stever left, as McDonald misses outside, and the count is now full on Newbar. Newbar digging in. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Firebirds up 3-1 on Brewster. Here comes the pitch. This one hit, chopped over to Nick Dunn at second, who makes the throw to Gahagan and completes the out. Newbar put up a battle against Shane McDonald, but McDonald wins that one, gets him to ground out over to Nick Dunn in the 4-3 ground out. And now it's going to be Cesar Salazar's turn.
Been really impressed with how Shane McDonald has been able to get a lot of balls on the ground. We've seen a bunch of Orleans hitters, guys that were hitting lasers to the outfield against Jonathan Stever, pounding baseballs right into the dirt in front of home plate against Shane McDonald. He's done a terrific job kind of stymieing the Firebirds.
Here comes the pitch from McDonald. This one hit to A.J. Graffinino, a hard hit ball. Graffinino picks it up, throws to Gahagan, who tries to make the tag, but Salazar moves his body out of the way, so he will be safe at first. The throw from Graffinino was a little bit off target. Gahagan had to move, and then he tried to tag out Salazar, but Salazar just moved his body. We saw some finesse there from Salazar, and he gets on.
That was kind of a strange little play from Graffinino. They're going to give him an error for that, and it's kind of strange because he fielded it well moving over. I guess he had a kind of a poor transfer into his bare hand because that throw really had no zip on it at all. Kind of a strange play on a very tricky hop for Graffinino, fielding that baseball. That's probably where it kind of started.
So Salazar gets on due to an error, and now it's Hopi's turn, who ropes one over to Kyle Datris, who throws it over to second and then over to first, and that will be a double play to end this inning. So an error by A.J. Graffinino, but then the Brewster defense responds with a double play as Brewster still trails 3-1. We've played 6 innings here at Eldridge Park. More playoff baseball on the way. Do not go anywhere. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps on the Whitecaps Radio Network.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center. Well, it was a real gem from Brett Daniels, the starter for Orleans, but his day is done. 6 innings pitched for him, 3 hits, 1 run on the Hunter Bishop homer, no walks against a team in the Brewster Whitecaps that's excellent at drawing walks, and 8 strikeouts. I'm sure Brewster will be happy to see him out of the ball game. Brett Daniels goes 6 strong for Orleans, and he is relieved by Cody Deason. Cody Deason coming on for the Firebirds. This is his second appearance of the playoffs, went 2 innings in his first appearance. No runs allowed or hits, walked 1 and struck out 3. Deason is a right-handed pitcher from the University of Arizona, and he deals to the righty Marty Costas, who takes a pitch just a bit outside to start off his at-bat. We're in the top of the 7th inning here in Orleans. The Firebirds are still on top of the Brewster Whitecaps by a score of 3-1, 1-3-2 for Brewster, 3-8-0 for Orleans. The pitch to Costas is in there for a called strike, so that evens the count up at 1 ball and 1 strike on Marty Costas. This game has really settled down here. We saw the first run of the game in Orleans, a sac fly from Steven Scott to give the Firebirds a 1-0 lead. 1-1 pitch misses low, so the count is 2-1. Orleans would put 2 more on the board in the second. Then the solo shot from Hunter Bishop in the 3rd inning made it 3-1, and we've been stuck at that score ever since. Here comes the 2-1 pitch to Marty Costas. It's hit hard through the middle into center field for a base hit. That was a hot shot that whizzed right past the pitcher Deason. So Marty Costas is aboard. He's now 1 for 3 on the ball game, and the Whitecaps have the leadoff man on in the top of the 7th.
Well, that's the first time today that the Whitecaps have had the leadoff man on, unless you count the Hunter Bishop homer in the 3rd. Other than that, the Whitecaps have really struggled. They've so many times struck out back-to-back on Brett Daniels and gotten to 2-out holes, but now with the leadoff runner on, this is a big spot for Brewster.
And now Chandler Taylor's the tying run. The pitch is in there for a called strike on an off-speed offering to begin the at-bat for Taylor. Taylor has struck out swinging his first 2 times up at the plate in this ball game, bringing his strikeout total to 8 for the postseason. Still looking for that big pitch that he can drive in these playoffs. Here comes the 0-1. Swing and a miss. It was a high fastball, and Taylor reached up but came up empty for it. He was thinking about tying the game with that swing there. Runner on first base and nobody out in the top of the 7th inning. Brewster trailing the Orleans Firebirds by a score of 3-1. Holding the set now is Cody Deason. And here comes the 0-2. Swing and a miss, he got him. A hat trick for Chandler Taylor tonight. 3 strikeouts, another fastball blown by him there. That was in the zone, it looked like that time, but Chandler Taylor is down on strikes. And there's 1 gone. Now Zach Gehagen will dig in. Can Gehagen get another key hit to keep a rally going with Hunter Bishop, the hottest hitter in the Whitecaps dugout right now, on deck for Brewster? Gehagen digging in from the right side with Marty Costas, who has plenty of speed on first base. Deason deals to the right-hander, and it's a fastball in there for strike 1. Deason with some real zip on that fastball. He can throw that fastball a lot. And a lot of times when he gets hit hard, it's when he leaves one of those fastballs up in the zone. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. A half swing. They're going to appeal, and he did go around, says first base ump Mark Piandadosi. That one was below the knees, and Gehagen just couldn't quite hold up, so the count is 0-2 on the UNC Tar Heel. Gehagen went 0 for 2 with the strikeout against his Tar Heel teammate Brett Daniels earlier in this ball game. Now faces an 0-2 count, righty to righty. Here comes the pitch. Runner going for second base. The pitch skips low, and it gets away from the catcher, Salazar, so sliding into second base safely with a stolen base is Marty Costas. Costas, his 2nd stolen base in as many tries in the playoffs. He had 7 in his regular season, and the Whitecaps have a man in scoring position. So 1 man out, a runner on second now, with the count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Zach Gehagen. Holding the set now is Cody Deason. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball low in the dirt again, nicely smothered by Salazar, so the count is even now. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Zach Gehagen. An important moment in this ball game. It feels like runs are difficult to come by tonight. And Orleans has a very deep pitching staff. Here comes the 2-2. Time is called as Deason was in his delivery by home plate ump Mike Griffin, interrupting the delivery of Cody Deason after Zach Gahagan requested time. And granting it there was the home plate ump, and it looks like the shortstop Hopi's going to come out and have a quick chat with Deason, maybe to try and get him to reset. That can be really tough on a pitcher when an umpire stops live action like that. 2-2 is the count with a runner on second base and 1 out. Orleans ahead here in Game 1 of this Eastern Division Championship Series by a score of 3-1 in the top of the 7th. Righty to righty, Deason takes a long look at Costas at second and deals another one low, so the count is full on Zach Gahagan. Good at bat here for Gahagan. Fell behind early 0-2, and then 3 pitches below the knees have run the count full on the Carolina Tar Heel here with 1 man out. And Hunter Bishop on deck for the Whitecaps. Deason stares in, now comes set. Checks the runner at second and deals 3-2. It's fouled back. Over the screen, over everything, and the fans huddled around here. We did have a gorgeous blue and orange sunset. No Florida Gators in this game, but the sky looked like it was a Gator fan early on in this game with the orange and blue. Now it's a good old-fashioned night game. Waiting on a payoff pitch. Here it comes from Deason. It's at high in the air, foul territory right side. It tails out of play, and we will do it again. A terrific at-bat here from Zach Gahagan. He really has gotten his approach at the plate down these past few games in the playoffs and maybe the last 3 or 4 games of the regular season. When he was coming back, first brought into Whitecaps camp, he was really struggling with his timing at the plate and couldn't quite get into a rhythm, and seems to just have started clicking. Here's the 3-2 pitch. It's hit high in the air into right center field. Moving back is the right fielder Decolati. Moving over to his right, he's going to make the play in right center. Costas tags at second but won't go anywhere. He'll stay at second base. So it's a high fly out for Zach Gahagan. Second time he's really put a charge into a baseball high in the air in this ball game, but it is the second out of the 7th, and now it's up to Hunter Bishop to try and drive Costas in from second base. Hunter Bishop has 2 of the Whitecaps' 3 hits in this ball game. Kyle Datras had the other one in the 6th inning, including a solo home run for the one Brewster run that we have seen. It was in the 3rd inning, and it just snuck inside the left field foul pole on a line drive. It's 3-1 Orleans now. The pitch to Bishop is an opening breaking ball in there for a called strike. Nice looking slider there from Cody Deason, and the count is 0-1. Deason in the regular season for the Orleans Firebirds had a 1.19 ERA in 12 games. Here's the 0-1 pitch. It misses on a breaking ball down and into the lefty Hunter Bishop, so it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Deason is not alone in having a sparkling ERA. Orleans, as a team, has 8 pitchers with ERAs below 3. That's the most in the league. If you're talking about guys with 3 appearances or more. 1-1 pitch. Misses up high for ball number 2, so it's 2-1 on Hunter Bishop. Costas is on second base. There are 2 men out. We're in the top of the 7th inning. An important spot in this ball game for the Whitecaps, trying to capitalize and come back from this 2-run deficit. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. Just low on an off-speed pitch. Shaking his head is Deason. Didn't like the call from Mike Griffin. And despite Salazar's attempt to frame, it does not work out. So it's 3-1 on Hunter Bishop. Darius Hill is taking some swings in the on-deck circle right now for Brewster. The DH spot is on deck in Malfetta, so we might see a pinch hitter here. 3-1 pitch, misses down and away, and Bishop works a walk. He will head to first base, and Darius Hill will be coming in to hit for Christian Malfetta with 2 men on and 2 men out.
Well, this is one of the best games we've seen from Hunter Bishop all year. One of the most complete games. We've seen him have outbursts of good hitting, but this is a game where he has a home run, a single, and then he just worked a walk, showing his plate discipline. So really, you can kind of see Hunter Bishop coming into his own as a well-rounded player. He's already very solid out there in center field, so it's nice to see for the Whitecaps to get Bishop involved as the playoffs go on.
And with the guy who plays such great defense for Hunter Bishop, it's good to see the bat come in and kind of lock down that place in the lineup in the playoffs. The pitch to lefty Hill is hit high in the air, and it will get out of play onto Route 28, foul on the left side. Count 0-1 on Darius Hill. So far for Hill in the playoffs, he is 1-for-6 with a run scored. for the Brewster Whitecaps. Did see some time at the DH as a starter earlier in that series with YD. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and it's hit hard down the right field line. Foul. Just barely foul, maybe a foot or two wide of the first base bag there off the bat of Darius Hill. In fact, the first base ump, Mark Piantadosi, had to get out of the way of that ball. He was right over there. That's how close that was to the foul line. But it's 0-2 quickly now on the lefty Darius Hill. It's 3-1 Orleans. We are in the top of the 7th. The Whitecaps have runners on first and second base and 2 men out. 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball spoiled, fouled over toward the Whitecaps dugout on the third base side. And the count remains 0-2. Brewster on the top step on the third base side in the dugout. One of 3 ballparks here on the Cape where the visiting team is on the third base side. A little unusual. In the big leagues, about 2 out of every 3 ballparks have the visiting team. Here's the pitch. Grounded foul, right side. So it's still 0-2. Doing a nice job to spoil a couple of difficult pitches there, did Darius Hill, and keep himself alive behind him, account 0-2. A.J. Graffinino is on deck for the Whitecaps if Hill can get himself on base with 2 men out. Costas and Bishop both with speed on the base paths. Bishop is the tying run at first base. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. It's hit high in the air, foul over toward the left side, and again over Route 28 and into the trees. So it's still 0-2 on the outfielder by trade from West Virginia. This has been another great at-bat for Darius Hill. It seems like this game, after those 2 innings from Jonathan Stever, has really been a dead-even affair. The Whitecaps just trying to get back those couple early runs. 0-2 pitch, just got a piece, fouled it back again. And this kind of speaks to the importance of jumping out early in games. It's what Orleans has done throughout the regular season and playoffs. And here in this ball game, put up 3 runs in the first 2 innings, and those are holding up right now. 0-2 the count on Darius Hill. First and second, 2 out the pitch. Fouled away. That one gets into the Firebirds dugout on the first base side. Some encouragement from the Whitecaps fans on the third base side as Darius Hill is putting together a terrific at-bat, becoming a dramatic at-bat here in a very important moment in this ball game. Orleans leads 3-1 here in the top of the 7th inning of this game. Game 1 of the Eastern Division Championship Series, the best of 3, the winner of which will play for a title. Here comes the 0-2. It's fouled back again. And Darius Hill doing a little hopping on one foot there. They call that the hot foot dance in some areas of the world as he fouled off that pitch. Thought he had a pitch to hit there and just managed to foul it back. So the count is 0-2 on Darius Hill once again. Holding the set is Cody Deason. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss, he got him. Cody Deason wins the battle. He gets Darius Hill to foul tip into the glove of Salazar, and Hill can't believe it. He stood in the batter's box for a couple of seconds at the end of that at-bat. A dramatic 7th inning comes to a close. The top of the 7th inning, to be more specific, and the Whitecaps failed to put a run across. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left for Brewster in the top of the 7th. It's time to stretch here at Eldridge Park, and the home team leads 3-1 with the Firebirds on top. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. We welcome you back to Eldridge Park. We are starting the bottom of the 7th inning, and the home team is ahead 3-1 with Orleans on top here in Game 1 of the Eastern Division Championship Series. McDonald remains on the mound for the Whitecaps, and he'll face the top of the Firebirds order, starting with Jimmy Herron, who takes a breaking ball up high for ball number 1 to begin his at-bat. We have said Jimmy Herron's name a lot in this ball game. He's that kind of player. He has reached base all 3 times in this game, 2 singles and a walk, one of those singles in the infield. 1-0 pitch, checks his swing on a pitch that was low. They appeal to first, but he did not go around, says Mark Pianadosi over at first base. So quickly ahead in the count here, 2-0 is the speedster out of Duke. Jimmy Herron, one of the toughest guys to get out on the Cape. Co-MVP of the All-Star game at Spillane Field in Wareham. 2-0 pitch. Is it hard? Leaping is a shortstop Graffinino, but it's over his head into left field for a base hit. A good effort by Graffinino, showed his hops to try and get up to that baseball, but in the end it dunked in for a single, and Jimmy Herron again is on base for the Orleans Firebirds. And now it's that signature headache is aboard first base, just the second hit that the Firebirds have managed against McDonald in this ball game. McDonald came into this game in the 3rd inning at the start of the 3rd to relieve Jonathan Stever, who just didn't have it tonight. Was getting hit hard by a lot of these talented Firebirds hitters. Here's the 2-hitter, Ethan Paul. The pitch to the lefty, runner going for second base. Pitches up high. The throw down to second base is not in time. Throw was offline. Graffinino couldn't quite field it. It knocked off the heel of his glove and was backed up by the second baseman, Nick Dunn. So it's a stolen base for Jimmy Herron. That's his first of this game, and his second of the playoffs, to put a runner in scoring position for the Firebirds. And now Mickey Jasper will head out and have a talk with McDonald. Zach Gehagen, the first baseman, also giving him some words of encouragement. It looks like at the moment the Brewster bullpen is quiet. They're relying on McDonald to eat up some innings here. This role of long relief, something that's so important and one that Jamie Shevchik has relied on for a lot of these, as you were talking about, more newcomers to the team. McDonald's making his Whitecaps debut tonight. The pitch to Paul is in there for a called strike at the letters, so the count is 1-1 on Ethan Paul. Paul so far today is 1 for 3. Was robbed of a successful bunt, shall we say, by a terrific play from the first baseman, Zach Gehagen, to grab a pop fly in the 2nd inning. Waiting on a 1-1 pitch from the lefty McDonald. Here it comes. It's a breaking ball hit hard on the ground to first base. Gehagen fields it. He'll head over to first base and win the race to the bag. Advancing to 3rd on the play is Herron, with now 1 man out. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning at Eldridge Park. Firebirds ahead 3-1 and looking for more with the speedy Jimmy Herron aboard 3rd base. Here's Nico Decolati. Decolati so far today, a bunt single. He reached on an error and then grounded out to 3rd. The right-handed 3-hitter at the plate for Kelly Nicholson's Orleans Firebirds club. McDonald stares in. It's lefty McDonald against the righty Decolati. The infield has been brought in for Brewster. The pitch is in there for a called strike on the inner half to make the count 0-1 on Decolati. McDonald looking for a strikeout or a pop fly, something that can prevent the run from scoring. A fly ball would drive the runner in, presumably with the speedy Herron at 3rd. 0-1 pitch. Misses just off the outside corner, so the count is even now 1 ball and 1 strike on Decolati. Firebirds ahead 3-1. They have led 3-1 since the 3rd inning of this game, when Hunter Bishop hit a solo home run for the lone Brewster run of the evening. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Misses down and in, so the count is 2-1 now on Decolati. And McDonald will start taking a walk around the mound here. Looked out to left field, I think. That's where the Whitecaps bullpen is. Not sure if that was where he was looking exactly, but there's nothing happening out there. Decolati back on the mound now, staring in. Now gets the sign from Gasper and holds the set with the count 2-1. Here comes the pitch to the righty Decolati. Hits it hard on the ground, past the diving Datris and down the left field line for a base hit. Scoring easily from 3rd is Herron. Decolati takes a wide turn at 1st. The throw comes in, and he's in no man's land between 1st and 2nd, and he slides into second base safely. The throw came into the first baseman, Zach Gehagen. It came in behind Decolati. Kind of a heads-up play there as he was in the middle of the 2 bases, and he slides into 2nd, so we'll see exactly if that scored a double or a single and a throw over, but in any case, it's a ribby for Decolati, and it's a 4-1 lead now for Orleans.
Well, a 4-1 lead doesn't seem like much, but in a game where the Brewster Whitecaps haven't been hitting at all, frankly, as they only have 4 hits and 2 of which have come from one guy, seems like that's a pretty big lead and a nice piece of hitting there for Decolati, and some heads-up base running, although did kind of get stuck in the middle, but just had the confidence to keep going to second and avoid a little rundown situation.
Yeah, may have been a little bit of good fortune there for Decolati as a lefty Steven Scott digs in. The pitch from lefty McDonald is cut on and missed. It was a high fastball. Scott chased it and came up empty. Usually in that situation, he who hesitates is lost in between first and second, and it seemed like Decolati hesitated as to whether to try to take the extra base, but when the throw came into Gehagen behind him, he was able to use his speed and slide in. Kind of a strange little play, but he's in scoring position now with 1 out. The 0-1 pitch is in, no, it's just low. Counts 1-1, just below an ease in the judgment of Mike Griffin behind the plate. They've scored that a single and advancing to second on an E7. They're giving an error on the left fielder Marty Casas for not throwing the ball over properly. So that is how that goes down in the scorebook, but it's still a ribby. For the pitch is a breaking ball in there for a called strike. 1-2 now the count, so it's 4-1 Orleans. That is the 3rd Brewster Whitecap error of this game. Decolati aboard second base already has 3 stolen bases in the playoffs, including 1 tonight. So he's got the speed to score on a single. As now time is called, it looks like Steven Scott wanted a chance to just take a couple more practice swings here. St. Gasper looking up, and he runs through the signs again with McDonald. 1-2 the count, the pitch. Just misses low. McDonald wanted that call. Again, he'll take a walk around. Tad frustrated with the zone that Mike Griffin is giving him, and perhaps with the run coming across as well. 2 is the count, 1 man out, 4-1 Orleans in the bottom of the 7th here in game 1. McDonald looks over to second. Here comes the 2-2. Just misses outside. McDonald again frustrated with the call, and he'll take a second to walk around the mound. Both of those pitches were pretty well framed from Mickey Gasper, both borderline, and siding with the hitter both times was Mike Griffin. So the count is now full on Steven Scott, who's done a pretty good job being patient since he swung at that high fastball to start this at-bat off. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss on a ball in the dirt. They're going to have to throw to first to complete the strikeout, and they do. A nice job by Mickey Gasper to stare down the runner at second before he did that, but they get the strikeout by throwing it over to first, and so there are 2 gone. Well, that's got to feel good for McDonald to win that battle, fooling him with a breaking ball there, fooling Scott. And now Jax Groshans will dig in from the right side. Runner on second base and 2 out. These 2 teams fighting for the right to play either Wareham or Bourne, and we know no matter what, whoever wins this series is going to have home field advantage in the Cape League Championship Series when they make it there, whether it's the Whitecaps or the Firebirds, regardless, since Brewster would be tied with Bourne ahead of Wareham, and they have the tiebreaker, which is the fact that the East won the All-Star game, and Orleans had the best record in the league, so they have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So that's where that will work. Austin Straub is heading out to the mound to have a chat with McDonald, bringing the Whitecaps infield in. And again, the Brewster bullpen seems to not have any activity going on out there behind the left field wall. So Straub just perhaps telling McDonald just to stay focused and try and finish off this frame. There's a runner on second base and 2 men out. Firebirds with a run in this inning now have a 4-1 lead here in the bottom of inning number 7. Groshans, the DH on Kelly Nicholson's lineup card in this ball game tonight. He is 2 for 3, has a pair of singles in this game. Digging in from the right side. We've seen Groshans at catcher. We've seen him at third base. Tonight he's the DH. He's a righty against the lefty McDonald. Here's the first pitch to him. It misses down and in. So the count is 1 ball and no strikes on Groshans. Decolati still over at second base. Got there on a single and an E7. It was a ribby single that drove in Jimmy Herron with the 4th Orleans run of this game. McDonald holds the set. Checks the runner at second. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball hit hard on the ground wide of third, foul. Left side. So the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. We've seen a lot of hot shots Kyle Datris' way on third base so far in this game tonight. A couple of which have gone into left field for base hits, a couple of which he's been able to snag, and a couple of which have gone foul, just like that one did. 1 ball and 1 strike the count on Jax Groshans, who spits into his batting gloves, rubs them up. It's getting a bit chilly here as the sun is completely gone, bathed in the lights here at Eldridge Park. 1-1 is the count. Here's the pitch to Groshans. It misses outside. So the count 2-1 on the Kansas Jayhawk. Won't be seeing a night game in Game 2 of this series. We'll be in Brewster. First pitch in that game will be at 4 o'clock. Our coverage will start at 3:45 here on the Whitecaps Radio Network. And then Game 3, if it happens, would be back here at Eldridge Park. 2-1 is the count on Groshans. The pitch to the righty. Nope, he's going to step off the mound and look over to second. Does McDonald. Had lifted the leg, but didn't start the motion toward the plate. So it's still 2-1. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Orleans still on top. It's 4-1 Firebirds. This has been a prototypical Kelly Nicholson coached win in this ball game. Get on top early, stifle the other offense with tremendous pitching depth, and get the W. 2-1 pitch, fouled away toward the right side, and the count is 2-2. Of course, for Brewster, they've come back from tougher deficits than this season. Of course, yesterday against YD, they were behind by a couple of runs. We've seen them make an 8-run comeback when they were down 10-2 against the Harwich Mariners. After 6.5, wound up winning that game in 8 innings at Stony Brook Field. Now, Harwich and Orleans are not the same club, but Brewster has had enough come-from-behind victories to show that this ball game is not done and dusted just yet. 2-2 pitch. Check swing on a pitch that was low. He held up. It was in the dirt. So it brings the count full now with 2 men out here in the bottom of inning number 7. 4-4-0 for the Firebirds, 1-4 and a big 3 for the Brewster Whitecaps. They have given up 1 unearned run in this game. A run came in to score on a throwing error from the third baseman Kyle Datris, which is a tough error because he made a great play to get to the ball in the first place, but then had a wild throw wide of Gehagen that allowed a run to come in and score. Stepping off the mound now is McDonald. He wants to go through the signs again with Gasper, and he will. 3-2 the count with 2 men out. And now Groshans will dig back in. Holding the set is McDonald. Here's the 3-2 pitch. It's hit high in the air, deep to left center field. Moving back is Costas, still heading back to the track, to the wall. He makes the catch. A couple of steps shy of the wall. A terrific play from Marty Costas. That one was a mile high in the air, but did not have quite enough to clear that 350-foot wall in straightaway left center field. So for Orleans, it's just the 1 run on 2 hits, and they leave 1 runner on base. 1 Whitecaps error in this frame as well here in the 7th. At the end of 7 innings of play, Orleans leads 4-1 here in Game 1. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan. We welcome you back to Orleans. It's 4-1 in favor of the Firebirds as we start the 8th inning of play. Cody Deason still on the mound. The Arizona Wildcat deals to A.J. Graffinino, who takes the pitch inside on an opening fastball. to make the count 1-0 on the Washington Husky. It's 9-1 and 2 due up for Brewster in this 8th inning. Graffinino, Dunn, and Datris. Here's the 1-0 pitch. It's fouled back. Graffinino looked like he wanted to get a little bit more of that baseball. Pitch he could hit over the plate, but just fouls it back to the screen, so the count is 1-1 on Graffinino. Graffinino has played the role of that jump starter at the bottom of the lineup for much of the Whitecaps season. Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's looped into left field. It's going to dunk in foul territory. Just barely foul down the left field line. It went over the head of the third baseman Shearer, who gave it a look, but it was just a bit foul. Mark Chamberlain, the third base ump, confirming it, and the count is 1-2 on A.J. Graffinino. Whitecaps trailing 4-1 in this ball game. They'd love to see a spark from their number 9 hitter to try and get a rally going in this 8th inning. Here's the 1-2 pitch. It misses inside, so it's 2-2 on Graffinino. So far today, Graffinino is 0 for 2. He struck out last time he was at the plate. He was the 8th and final strikeout victim for Brett Daniels, who, if you weren't with us, spun a gem in the first 6 innings for the starter for Orleans. 2-2 pitch, caught on and missed, strike 3. Blew a fastball right by him. Did Cody Deason. He really has shown a lot of life on that heater since he's been called upon to relieve Brett Daniels. That's the 3rd strikeout for Deason, and Graffinino is down. That's out number 1 of the 8th inning.
And now it's just a couple of guys left in the order, really, for the Whitecaps, and one of them's Nick Dunn, that haven't struck out today, that we've seen so many strikeouts, which is uncharacteristic for the Whitecaps, and not a lot of walks for Brewster either.
Just 1 for the Whitecaps. The pitch is in there for a called strike to Nick Dunn, count 0-1, and that's probably the thing that's more alarming to Jamie Shevchik and his coaching staff. This team was up there with the league leaders in strikeouts. Here's the 0-1 pitch. It's a breaking ball in there for a called strike. So it's 0-2 quickly here on Nick Dunn, but Brewster was far and away the leader in walks. So all the strikeouts combined with the lack of walks is very telling about how well these Firebirds have pitched to Brewster. Here comes the 0-2 pitch to Dunn. It's fouled back to the screen, just stayed alive, did Nick Dunn. He didn't look like he timed that pitch very well, but did a nice job of spoiling it. So it's still 0-2 on the Maryland Terrapin, who is 0 for 4 today. As you mentioned, Maura, he has avoided the strikeout so far. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball called, strike 3. So Nick Dunn is down looking. That's 3 strikeouts in 3 straight hitters now, going back to the 7th inning for Cody Deason. He is on a roll, and there are 2 gone quickly here on the top of inning number 8. So now Kyle Datris will dig in for the Whitecaps. Brewster trailing in this game 4-1 with Orleans on top here in game 1 of this East Division Championship Series. Whitecaps have mustered just 4 hits. Kyle Datris has 1 of them. It was his last time up in the 6th inning, a single. Here comes the pitch to the right-hander. It's a breaking ball that misses low, so the count is 1-0 on Datris. Before that single, Datris popped up to second and struck out in the 4th. Deason shakes off one sign from the catcher Salazar. Now gets the one that he likes, and here comes the 1-0 pitch. It's fouled back to the screen. The count is 1-1. Really seems like the like on that fastball and the location of the breaking ball have been what have really made Cody Deason an excellent strikeout pitcher in this ball game. Deason in the regular season had 32 Ks in 22 2/3 innings for the Firebirds. A 1-1 pitch is bunted foul by Kyle Datris, who's looking frustrated with himself for not getting that bunt on line. I guess Datris trying to do whatever he can to get on base. Does have the speed to beat out a bunt if he needs to, but will take a moment here stepping outside of the circle to take a practice swing and try and reset. So the count is 1-2 on Datris with 2 men out here on the top of inning number 8. Deason is ready. He is itching to go. Every time a player calls time, he wants to keep working quickly, knows he's on the roll. Shakes off 3 signs now from Salazar, cracks a smile, and here comes the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, he got him. He wanted to run up the high fastball, and it worked. Kyle Datris is down on strikes, and Cody Deason strikes out the side here on the top of the 8th inning. Orleans leads 4-1 at the end of 7.5 here at Eldridge Park in Game 1 of this EDCS. We'll be back after this. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take just a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu. We welcome you back to Eldridge Park, bottom of the 8th inning, about to get underway. And the Whitecaps trailing the Firebirds 4-1 here in Game 1 of this East Division Championship Series. It's going to be Brandon Shearer to lead things off for Orleans. Shearer, Newtbar, and Salazar, the three due up in full for the Orleans Firebirds, who got 2 hits and a run across in the 7th inning the last time this team grabbed a bat. Did leave one runner stranded on second base. And waiting over and checking over again as there was again a commotion out there in left field, and hustling back into the field of play. It looks like that's the second base ump, Mickey Garcia, who is back at his position, so a bit of a delay, but we're ready to go. McDonald is still on the mound for Brewster. No matter the result in this game, McDonald is doing a great service to the Whitecaps bullpen here by getting some length. The pitch, did that hit the lefty hitter? Just missed him. Thought that might have clicked the elbow pad of Brandon Shearer, but a breaking ball that missed high and tight. So Shearer's at-bat starts with the count 1-0. Shearer, one of the few Firebirds that hasn't gotten going at the plate tonight. 1-0 pitch is hit high in the air. Left field, it tails toward foul territory and goes out of play. So the count is 1-1 on Shearer. So far tonight for Shearer, a double play ground ball, a strikeout, and then a ground ball to second base. 0-4-3. Count 1-1 on the lefty. Here comes the pitch. It's in there for a called strike at the knees to make the count 1-2. Shearer, when he's warming up, holds his bat high up above his head when he's in his stance. Julian Infante does that for the Whitecaps, kind of a similar look. Holding the set is McDonald. Here's the 1-2. Slow ground ball, foul, right side. Good job by Shearer there. That was an off-speed pitch that he wasn't expecting, and he pushed it foul. We've seen a lot of that tonight. I mean, we are in the playoffs. It's the best of the best with these teams, and one strength that both of these teams have is their approach at the plate, though the Whitecaps tonight have been struck out 13 times, just 1 walk, so not a poster day for that. 1-2 pitch is swung on and missed on a breaking ball low. It got away from Gasper for a minute, so they'll throw to first to complete the K. It works out, and that's out number 1. Terrific job there from McDonald with that breaking ball. It was well in the dirt, but it was enough to fool Shearer, who's now 0-for-4 with a pair of Ks. That is the 4th strikeout for McDonald since he entered the game to start the 3rd inning in relief of Jonathan Stever. And here comes Lars Newtbar hitting from the left side for the Orleans Firebirds. Newtbar so far has a single and 2 ground balls to second. He has also scored a run after reaching on that single. Here comes the pitch. It's in there for a called strike at the knees to make the count 0-1. Newtbar scored on a squeeze play. Jeff Hope drove him in on a squeeze play. That was the 2nd run for Orleans. Gave them, at the time, a 2-0 advantage. They now lead 4-1 here in the bottom of inning number 8. Here comes the pitch from a lefty. It's a high chopper toward the right side. Moving to his left to field it is the second baseman Dunn. He throws to first for out number 2. Nice job by Nick Dunn. I think all in all, we have seen 3 errors for Brewster, but they've all come on throws. I think all in all, in terms of picking the baseball up from this wet, hard infield, it's been a pretty good night for the Whitecaps infielders. Not the best in terms of the conditions here after the rainy night last night, but they've handled that well. The throwing arms have been a little bit more erratic. So with 2 men out, here's Salazar, who reached on a throwing error his last time up from A.J. Graffinino. Wound up being doubled off the very next hitter. Pitch is fouled away toward the left side. Over into the last row of folks out there on the lawn chairs. Fans are really sticking around here. It's a packed house at Eldridge Park. Looks very different from when we began the game. Night has fallen here over Orleans. It's a black sky, the artificial lighting, and the fans are just everywhere you look for this playoff game. 0-1 is the count. The pitch to Salazar is a fastball that's fouled away over the Whitecaps dugout on the 3rd base side, and in fact rolls back into the Whitecaps dugout after rebounding off of the netting there. So the count is no balls and 2 strikes on Cesar Salazar. Looking for his 5th K is McDonald. He comes set. He pitches from the stretch despite the bases being empty. 0-2 pitch is hit hard over the head of the first baseman Gehagen into the right field corner for a base hit. Heading around first base is Salazar. He's digging for two. The throw comes in, and he will be in there. The throw is offline, backed up by the third baseman Datris, and it's a two-out double for Cesar Salazar to the light of the fans here. Great piece of hitting from Salazar there. Just curled that one inside the right field foul line. So it'll be a runner on second now for Orleans as the Firebirds look for an insurance run. Jeff Hopi is at the plate now for the Firebirds. He has yet to reach base, but he does have a squeeze play that drove in a run. Last time up, hitting to and around the horn double play. He's a left-handed hitter. Important spot here for Shane McDonald. Still no action in the Brewster pen. Here comes the pitch. It's fouled away left side. It gets out of play. Datris gave it a look, but it wound up in the seats. Bourne ahead of Wareham 3-2 right now in the other game. They're in the ninth inning, top of the ninth, and Wareham has first and third and 2 men out. So the Gatemen are threatening to try and get back into that ball game at Doran Park in Bourne. But as I say that, the third out has been recorded, so Bourne takes game one. The pitch is fouled away, left side again. That one just shoots over Route 28. That one got just right over the netting. And the count is 0-2 on Jeff Hopi. Runner on second base here with 2 men out. We're in the bottom of inning number 8, and the Whitecaps trail the Orleans Firebirds by a score of 4-1 in game 1 of this series. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. It misses outside. And the count is 1-2. McDonald takes a deep breath to try and collect himself and stares in. Been a longer inning than he would have wanted. It sent the first 2 hitters down in order and then gave up the double after a lengthy at-bat to Salazar. 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, he got him. And that retires the side. McDonald gets the strikeout, his 5th since entering this ball game, and the Firebirds get the double, but that's it for the frame. No runs a hit and 1 runner left on for Orleans in the bottom of inning number 8. At the end of 8, the Whitecaps trail Orleans 4-1 here at Eldridge Park. We'll be back with the Whitecaps' last chance in the 9th inning after this. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan. Well, the Firebirds lead 4-1 as we go to the 9th, and Kelly Nicholson will turn to his closer, Josh Hyatt, another Tar Heel out of UNC. Hyatt, the rising junior, originally from Charlotte, North Carolina, had a terrific regular season for the Orleans Firebirds where he had a 1.96 ERA in 16 games and picked up or a 2.74 ERA in 18 games, with 6 saves for Hyatt. He pitched just yesterday through a perfect 9th inning to ice Game 3 against Chatham. Struck out 2 in that frame. And the Whitecaps will try and put together a comeback here. They trail 4-1 as we start the 9th inning, but they've got the heart of their order coming up. Mickey Gasper, Marty Costas, and Chandler Taylor. All 3 of those hitters can drive one over the wall. Gasper, the switch hitter, is hitting from the left side. And here comes the first pitch from the righty Hyatt. It is in there for a called strike to make the count 0-1. That one was at the knees on the inner half. While life to that heater from the rising junior out of Charlotte, Josh Hyatt. And the count is 0-1 on Gasper. Here comes the pitch. It misses outside. And so the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. It misses outside, so the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Now, on Mickey Gasper, so far for Gasper today, he is 0 for 3 on his day. Here comes the 2-1. It's hit hard but foul. Left side and out of play. So 2-2 the count on Mickey Gasper. Gasper asking home plate umpire Mike Griffin if it was a strike, kind of chatting with him there. And the count is even 2-2 with Costas on deck for the Brewster Whitecaps. Pitch to Gasper. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Got him to chase at a pitch down and away. Gasper strikes out for the 2nd time in this ball game. He's 0 for 4, and the Whitecaps now have 1 man out here in the 9th. That is the 5th strikeout in a row for Orleans pitching, as Cody Deason ended his outing with 4 straight Ks, and now Hyatt gets his first. So here comes Costas with Taylor on deck for the Brewster Whitecaps. Costas a righty hitter against the righty Hyatt, and the pitch is a fastball in there for a called strike 1. Cody Deason was terrific in his 2 innings for the Orleans Firebirds. Struck out 5, gave up just 1 hit, 1 walk, and no runs. The pitch misses low, so it's 1 ball and 1 strike. On Marty Costas. Here comes the 1-1. It misses inside. We're in the 9th inning here in Game 1. Last chance for Brewster here in the top of the 9th. They trail 4-1 against the Orleans Firebirds here in Game 1 of the Eastern Division Championship Series. We appreciate you joining us on this gorgeous night for baseball. 2-1 pitch is a fastball that misses up and away, makes the count 3-1. Hyatt is a fastball breaking ball pitcher, as you might expect for a successful closer like himself. Really, as you might expect as well, works well when both of those pitches are working. Right now the fastball looks to be on. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Fastball misses low for ball 4. A well-earned walk for Marty Costas, a very important walk, just the 2nd one drawn by a Brewster Whitecap in this game. So Costas is aboard first base, moves the tying run to the on-deck circle as Chandler Taylor digs in.
And this is a chance for Chandler Taylor to get something going here in the playoffs. He struck out 3 times today. He has a lot of strikeouts in the playoffs alone, and so this is a chance for him to build his confidence and help his team get back in this game. They're only down 3 runs right now.
Here's the pitch to the lefty Taylor. It's in there for a called strike 1. Chandler Taylor is a guy, obviously, who is known for his ability to put the ball over the fence. Time for the Cape League lead in homers in the regular season with 9, but here he just needs to get on base. Here comes the 0-1. Runner is going for second base. Pitch is hit on the ground to second base. It's scooped up over there by Ethan Paul. He throws to first in time for the out, and Costas moves to second. If Costas weren't going, the game would be over. That was a Taylor-made double play ball, but since Costas was running, he's able to get in there, and he's smiling over there at the second base bag. So Costas is on second base, and Chandler Taylor is retired. So runner on second base and 2 out for Gehagen. Gehagen now with the Whitecaps down to their final out here in this 9th inning. 4-1, Orleans on top, trying to keep the line moving with Hunter Bishop, who already has a home run in this game, standing on deck for the Whitecaps, their hottest hitter tonight. The pitch to Gehagen just misses for ball 1. Hyatt taking a look in at Mike Griffin, but will stand in. Griffin has sided with the hitters, I think, more often than not behind the plate in this game. 1-0 the count on Zach Gehagen. Tar Heel versus Tar Heel here. The pitch is a fastball that just misses off the outside corner to make the count 2-0. Zach Gehagen started his game against the Tar Heel, and the starter Brett Daniels didn't do much against him, went 0 for 2 with the K. Also flew out against Deason. 0 for 3 in total today. 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. Out in front of that one was Zach Gahagan. Good breaking ball there from Josh Hyatt. Perhaps the best one we've seen in this limited outing here in the 9th inning. 2-1 the count with 2 men out. Marty Casas is on second base for the Whitecaps. Brewster trying to stay alive here in game 1 with the tying run on deck right now. Holding the set is Josh Hyatt. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. Just a bit up high, and the count is 3-1. Was right up there at the letters. So it's 3-1 now on Gahagan. Gahagan had such a crucial hit to keep a rally going yesterday in the 10th inning when he singled and then later came around to score on a subsequent double from A.J. Graffinino. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. It's a high chopper toward the left side. Fielding it over there is the third baseman, Shearer. He throws across the diamond. It is in time for out number 3, and the Firebirds take game 1 here at Eldridge Park. Orleans wins it 4-1. It was a comprehensive victory for the Orleans Firebirds. They were able to jump on top early with some strong pitching and some strong hitting as well. Got those 3 runs early in the ball game off of Jonathan Stever, and those were enough to stand up. They did tack on a run in the 7th inning as well, and they win this game 4-1. This was just as Orleans has drawn it up all season and in the playoffs as well against Chatham. A tough loss for Brewster here tonight. They're back in a home, Maura.
Absolutely. Brewster needs to get some confidence back against YD. They really didn't struggle to score as much, which is interesting because YD does have good pitching, but Brewster's offense was really coming alive in that series, and then today just completely stifled by the pitching of Orleans. I mean, they're a whole different beast to take on, and it's going to be interesting tomorrow to see how Brewster responds to a loss where everything seemed to be an issue, but the one bright spot I think is going to be Shane McDonald. And I think Aiden's going to try to get to talk to him because, you know, he came in and really relieved this team and stifled the Orleans offense, who scored only 1 run on him. So this game would have been tied up if you kind of erased the beginning part in which Stever kind of gave up 7 hits and struggled a lot for Brewster.
All right, well, there is a lot to talk about in this ball game. We'll have our Whitecaps postgame show coming up right after this. We'll talk about this ball game, look ahead to the game tomorrow back at Stony Brook Field at 4 o'clock. The postgame show is coming up on the other side of this break. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps. Don't go anywhere. The Whitecaps postgame show is coming up right after this.
That was huge for us. It's huge for the momentum going into tomorrow.
Only on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network. You're welcome back to Eldridge Park in Orleans. Carter Wadil and Morris Sheridan here recapping Brewster's 4-1 defeat at the hands of the Orleans Firebirds. The final totals for this game for the victorious Firebirds: 4 runs on 11 hits, no errors. They leave 8 runners on. For Brewster, 1 run on 4 hits, 3 errors, all on throwing errors. 1 on Datris, 1 on Graffinino, and 1 on the left fielder Costas. 5 runners left on for the Brewster Whitecaps. Daniels gets the win. Brett Daniels, who spun a gem, 6 innings of 1-run ball for Orleans. He's now 1-0 on the playoffs. Jonathan Stever takes the loss. 2 rather ineffective innings for the Brewster Whitecaps. In the start, he is now on 1, on the playoffs, and Hyatt gets his second save in as many days, second save of the postseason for the Orleans Firebirds. Brewster again loses this ball game by a score of 4-1. They will be back in action tomorrow at 4 o'clock. We'll be on the air at 3:45 on the Whitecaps radio network. It'll be at Stony Brook Field. And Maura, what from this game that we saw tonight can the Whitecaps take into the ball game tomorrow?
Well, I think their pitching staff is pretty solid for tomorrow in terms of that they only used 2 guys today, so that's a good for the outlook for the rest of the playoffs. But I think Brewster just needs to get back to playing their game. I know it's tough against this Orleans team that has the pitching staff that they have, but 14 strikeouts today from Brewster, that's just not their game. And they only walked twice, which again, that's something they've been doing all year. I talked about that in the pregame show, and that's how they've been winning games, is walking and showing the plate discipline that they have. And today they struck out almost half the time, 43% of the time Brewster struck out. That's not a number you ever want to see, but especially in a playoff game. And so they go home down 1, and it's going to be a tough comeback for Brewster, but we know they can do it. They did it against YD, so it's just going to have to be erase this one from their memory and move on tomorrow.
Brewster trying, as you said, more to make that comeback once again after the thriller in YD, and part of it is protecting their home field. But a terrific outing all around for the Orleans pitchers. The final line on Hyatt, he goes 1 inning, no runs or hits allowed, 1 walk. Did not strike out a batter, struck out 1 batter, and got 2 ground balls. Shane McDonald made his Whitecaps debut in this ball game, and out of all the players that took the field here at Eldridge Park for Brewster, certainly he had the best game. 6 innings of pitch in relief for him, 4 hits, just the 1 run allowed, 1 walk, and 5 Ks. This helps the team in a lot of ways, and not the least of which is keeping the bullpen fresh for what's now a must-win game tomorrow.
Absolutely. Now you have guys like Sam Bordner, Joe Demers, all available tomorrow in as you said, a must-win where they're going to throw all the stops. As I've talked to Jamie Shevchik, he says in those kind of games we might use 6 pitchers. You never know. So now those guys are available. But Shane McDonald just proved himself in the Cape League. If nothing else, just proved that he maybe belonged here from the start. A great job by him to come in on a brand new team and just pitch in a high-intensity situation. And as I said before, if you kind of erase that beginning start and just see what McDonald did, this game would have been tied 1-1. I mean, the way he pitched was so solid, and this game slowed down after we saw the hot start from the Firebirds early against Stever.
And for Jamie Shevchik, it's interesting to say that because he has used a big rotating cast of pitchers in regular season games, but so far in the playoffs has never had to do that. He's either had a good starting pitching performance or somebody who stepped up to eat up the innings in relief, so perhaps he will kind of flex that muscle, as it were, in tomorrow's ball game. We're not sure who will be starting against the Firebirds in Game 2. Of course, how he does is going to be very important for the rest of that game. Let's talk a little bit about Hunter Bishop. A terrific game for him at the plate. Reached base all 3 times he came up, including that line drive home run in the 3rd inning for the only run of the game for the Whitecaps. A great day for him personally. And for a guy like Hunter Bishop that's kind of been in and out this season, a guy with so much natural talent, it's got to be big for him.
Yeah, as we were talking about during the game before he hit the home run in the 3rd, he hadn't had a hit all playoffs, and so that's huge for Hunter Bishop. You know, he's a guy that has so much potential in this team, and I would argue the most potential on this team in terms of his athletic ability, what he can do. We see him defensively come up big for the Whitecaps all the time, and for him to kind of get involved, that will be good for Brewster moving ahead. But it seems like Hunter Bishop, you know, there was a Kyle Datras hit, but other than that, it really just was an offensive letdown today. So everybody else needs to step up. Hunter Bishop did his job today, but it needs to be more of a full team effort if they want to get the win tomorrow.
All right, we're still waiting on Aiden Doyle. He's trying to track down our player of the game here out there on the field. Again, the ball game tomorrow is going to be at 4 o'clock at Stony Brook Field, a must-win game for the Brewster Whitecaps. We'll be on the air at about 3:45 to get that one to you. And again, I did mention it a little bit in the 9th inning of the ball game, but we had a game going on over here. Wareham and Bourne, the home team, has won both playoff games tonight, as Bourne was able to hold off the Wareham Gatemen. They got 1st and 3rd on, did the Wareham Gatemen in the 9th inning of that game, but a foul pop fly ended things for the Gatemen in the 9th inning, ending that late rally for the team from Wareham. So Bourne wins and Orleans wins in this ball game tonight. And we send it over to Aiden Doyle with the man who had a terrific pitching performance tonight for Brewster. Aiden?
Thanks, Carter. Here with Shane McDonald. Shane, your first appearance in the Cape Cod League today. Came all the way from the Hamptons League, Fordham. You're off to Southern New Hampshire next year. But you come in Game 1 of the Eastern Division Finals. What's this journey been like for you?
It's been kind of crazy, man, honestly. You know, I didn't really expect this to ever happen. I kind of was just playing in the Hamptons League to get innings, and I wound up doing pretty well. And they gave me a call here, and I just kind of took the opportunity, and I ran with it. You know, I felt good out there today. I felt like I was locating my fastball well. And, yeah, I don't know.
I'd say, how's the adjustment period been? Because obviously, really late addition to this team, getting here to the last regular season game, getting to know these guys, getting to work with catchers, kind of establish that rapport on the fly.
Yeah, you know, I actually had not thrown to Mickey at all until I got in the game. So we were kind of adjusting to each other on the fly, but he did a great job back there. And, I mean, in terms of, the team, it's always a little awkward being the new guy, but all these guys are great guys, and I've really enjoyed my time here so far.
6 innings pitched in Game 1 today. You only allowed 4 hits, 1 run. I believe you had 5 or 6 strikeouts. Well, you said you were establishing that fastball command, but against a tough team like the Orleans Firebirds, this team had the best record in the entire Cape League. How did you manage to be so successful against them in your first outing?
I just had like I said, establishing my fastball, I thought I had a good run on it, and they were pounding a lot of balls into the ground. And then, in the later innings, I started to get a better feel for my breaking ball, and I think that helped me the second time through the order a lot. And, yeah, I was just trying to keep the ball low and let my defense work, and, thankfully it worked out for me.
You lost Game 1, not you. The team lost Game 1 of the first-round series against YD, came back and won back-to-back games facing elimination. You're in that same scenario here after losing Game 1 to Orleans. How can you repeat that success as a team?
We just got to take it one game at a time. They haven't done anything yet. They didn't win the series yet. That's what Coach keeps saying. We just got to come back out and, stick to our game plan and hopefully take tomorrow's game and push it to Game 3.
All right, thanks, Shane.
Shane McDonald, a terrific performance for him once again. Malign on the newest Brewster Whitecaps. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, just the 1 run allowed, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. Did a terrific job, as he said, getting balls pounded into the ground, relying on the Brewster defense, and eating up some very, very important innings toward the end of this ball game here tonight. And with more on that, we'll see if maybe we can get some more on that. Aiden Doyle has the Whitecaps head coach, Jamie Shevchik.
Thanks, Carter. Here with Coach Shevchik. Coach, this is the second consecutive series in which you've lost Game 1. The first one, obviously, you came back and won back-to-back games facing elimination against the YD Red Sox. How do you repeat that against these Orleans Firebirds?
Same thing that I said in the pregame. The pressure's on them, not us. You get up 1-0, you tend to drop your guard, and just like we saw it the other, a couple of days ago with YD. Seems like when they got to our field, they were a little too loose. So, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, we're used to this. We win tomorrow, and then anybody wins the next day. So, I give credit to Shane today, the way he threw. If I knew I had that, if we knew we had that before the game started, the kid would have started today. And that's the downside of getting kids in here late when you have no idea what they can do. You try to pick and choose the right moment to get the arm in. But, if we knew he was like that, we would have started him today. And it was probably a different game if we did.
So Shane McDonald, absolutely fantastic in relief going the last 6 innings for you guys. You talk about how great he was, but what do you think was the major key to that success? Like, what did you see out from your southpaw that allowed him to be successful against a tough Orleans lineup?
He matched up with all the lefties in their lineup. He kept them off balance. He mixed it up, and he did the opposite of what Jonathan did. Jonathan throws a lot of strikes, and he's always around the strike zone. Shane had a little bit more of a firm fastball, and he was in all parts of the strike zone and out of the strike zone, and that's where he was competitive.
Team only managed 1 run, came on a Hunter Bishop opposite field home run, just 4 hits. How, moving forward, does this team string together a few more hits offensively and get some offense going tomorrow at Stony Brook?
This is game 47 or whatever the heck it is. At this point, they have to will themselves into staying for a handful more days. If they do that, the hits are going to come.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you so much, Aiden. Jamie Shevchik clearly very impressed with the outing from Shane McDonald here today. He talked about how he really thought that he had a starter quality performance here tonight for the Brewster Whitecaps, and it's a good thing for him to eat up those innings for Brewster. And another interesting comment about how this team just needs to will themselves to a win tomorrow. How do you interpret that, Maura?
I think that's At this point in the season, they know how to get it done. They've done it so many times in this year. They did it against YD just yesterday, so they know how to win playoff games. They know how to win games. The offense, we've seen it come alive. We saw it come alive against YD. So it's all about just getting their head in the game. I think today may have been perhaps a little bit of a letdown game. Yesterday was just so exciting, such an exciting win, and then you come here today and it's a whole new series, and sometimes people's heads just aren't there. They're still remembering yesterday, so I think tomorrow's a fresh day, you know, and it's a backs against the wall situation, and we've seen Brewster play well in that position, so we'll see what happens tomorrow, but season on the line once again.
Season on the line indeed for Brewster. Again, tomorrow 4 o'clock first pitch. We're on the air at quarter till at 3:45, and that is the next time you will hear from us. For Maura Sheridan, Aiden Doyle, and our entire crew here at Eldridge Park in Orleans, I'm Carter Wedeel saying good night from Orleans. We will see you tomorrow on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network.